Good evening everyone and welcome along to TTML F1. We are here of course for Season 7, Round 6 of the Championship as we take in the Belgian Grand Prix from the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. My name is James Head, going to be taking you through the stream as always on a Sunday night, and joining me in the comment box it is of course Mr. Pepsi Freak. Pepsi, how you doing?
It's good to see you here. And remember, this is old Belgium. New Belgium will not be seen at least till next year's game, and knowing Codemasters, it probably won't be out till 2024's game. But yeah, this Belgium circuit provides some great racing action, tied up a Rouge, fighting down the Camel Strait, and we may not see the same finish we saw at Saudi Arabia last week with them nose to tail at the line or fender to fender, but we'll still see some good action here, and I think we'll definitely see a chaotic race.
Definitely so. Jensen, of course, is not here tonight, so just to put it into perspective, Jensen's not here tonight. He's doing a charity event at the minute, which I have linked in the self-promo chat in the TTML Discord if you do want to tune in for that. It's for a great cause, of course, remembering one of our own in the league racing community, that is Mads Anderson. Of course, all of our thoughts here at TTML are with his family and friends, and of course with the guys at FRL and at NSX putting this event together. I think it's been really well received, and judging by the racing as well that I've seen, it's really good. So go and watch that when you've got a little bit of free time, or not, if watch it back, of course, after this in TTML F1. Jensen, though, leading the championship. To remind you, of course, actually what happened last week in Saudi Arabia, need I remind you about that finish right at the end of the race? Tom took the win by 8 thousandths of a second from Jensen. Arrows there finishing third. It was a fantastic final lap of the race. I don't think I've ever gone to commentate on as close a finish as that, and I probably never will in my entire league racing career either. So what goes around comes around, I guess, coming into tonight here in Belgium. Jensen, of course, leading the way on 146 points. Tom in second on 88 points. Rudy in third on 87. Then we've got Lynx in fourth on 87. MedTC in fifth on 68. Carsbury in sixth on 55. And then Boss Wanted and Fleddy are tied for seventh on 54. And then Funky Chicken and Arrows are tied for ninth and 10th on 47 points. Smalley, Zoidemer, Black Box, Hyper, and Chris ran off the top 15. Khan, Chalker, Steph, Basti and Davey rounding off the 20 drivers that we've got, of course, that have currently scored points this season. Jensen, though, holding that advantage. We were just talking before the stream, it's around 58 points, I think that advantage actually is. Tom, though, this is really an open goal chance of closing in on that gap and making sure that advantage is not more than one race going into next week.
Yeah, this is his main chance here to get some points here. It's not open because there's some strong competitors around the field, but he needs to get as many points as he can. By the way, it is 58 points to confirm the math, but he's not even in second. Lynx is technically the one in second, so points can still be gained and lost. But like I said, this is a good chance for a lot of the field to catch up, and if you want to be a true championship contender, you have to strike when an opportunity presents itself, and right now, no points are going to Jensen, so take your shot, get yourself up the field, and use this opportunity because this may be the only chance you got, so shoot your shot.
Yeah, shoot your shot indeed, and obviously the standings as well and the constructors, dare I say, it wasn't looking quite close anyways, but it is looking not as close as what it was at the start of the season, that's for sure. Red Bull leading the way on 214 points, McLaren in second on 141, AlphaTauri in third on 135, Mercedes in fourth on 134, Haas in 5th on 83, Alfa Romeo in 6th on 70, Alpine in 7th on 54, Aston Martin 8th on 40, Williams in 9th on 23, and Ferrari in 10th on 16 points. Looks like the drivers are about to get going, of course. Remember about the sprint format, it is one-shot qualifying, 11 laps in terms of a 25% race distance, and it's a very simple one-stop strategy, either or in both the sprint and the feature race. If it's under TTML F2, we might get a bit of rain, we might get changeable conditions, and we might just get race of the season.
Maybe. I do want to say one thing. Remember, Red Bull does not have any drivers here today. The only driver on the field is Zoidema, and since reserve drivers cannot score points for the main constructors, that means Red Bull's also getting no points in the constructors, so like in the driver standings, if any team wants to make a run at that constructors championship, they need to put a good race here together and maximize their point output here today. But again, easier said than done.
Yeah, easier said than done. Looking through the chat, by the way, in the Discord server, quite a few people necessarily might have not practiced for this. Smalley certainly hasn't realised that it's going to be a sprint race, first and foremost, so the Scotsman, I think, is going to be struggling in that regard, but hopefully we're going to be seeing some really good racing, of course, out on track. Tom saying, Freddy clear, Steph clear now. I have to say, everyone clear. Very weird indeed, but everyone is now clear to go out on the grid, of course. One-shot qualifying, which means one-lap pace, basically in qualifying, and of course that 25% race, and it is very, very different conditions to what we experienced, of course, in TTML F2. If you're watching that, we actually had a little bit of a wet qualifying session in the one shot, but here tonight, beautiful blue skies and sunshine, and that's exactly what we like to see, and it puts everyone now at an even playing field.
Ah, boo, I was hoping for a little bit of rain here. It's the spice of life. It's the variety of the race, and it gives a true challenge out for some of the drivers. But, yeah, it is quite a show here at the very least, and we'll see if qualifying's about to start. And by the way, for that charity event right now, they're actually at Belgium right now on lap 5 of 5, so kind of a little bit of a fun coincidence there that for the Memorial Trophy race for NS Mads, they're doing Belgium, and we're about to start Belgium here. So, a little bit of a fun quinky-dink.
Yeah, I think it goes around in circles, I think is probably the best phrase Larry could use. But let's get going, though. TTG Chris is the man we're going to go on board with. Possibly an open goal chance for him to try and score as many points as possible here tonight. I think he's got really good pace around here. Coming through turn number 1 at the source. Nearly gave him the commentator's curse. He nearly ran wide coming through turn number 1. Don't want to do that as we go through the lap. And now, on the run down the hill in towards what is the reprofiled Arouge and Radion. That is Radion, actually, at the top of the hill through turn number 3. Now through the little kink of 4, opening up that DRS range now into the Kemmel Straight, and now down in toward Lake Holm, and Chris should be sent around a 30 through the first sector, 30.4 through the first sector. Tom links Noah all towards the top end of the field. Chris now though coming through Lake Holm, and now on the run down and towards Bruxelles corner at turn number 8. This is going to be now the most difficult part of the track, where you've got to really get off camber to try and get the run through these corners. Chris coming through the right hander there at turn 8, now in toward No Name at turn number 9, catches the curve nicely, just sends him a little bit wide though. It's still Tom out on top, Noah second, Rudy in third, and Chris now coming through Puon. You can take this flat out if you've got real good pace coming through Puon. You can take that flat out, and Chris has gained a few positions as a result, as Funky Chicken has dropped down a couple of positions as well, and there's invalidations being picked up from Chalk, as it seems, as Chris now comes through. Noah's retired out on track, so he must have been validated as well. So Noah out of the session unless he's crashed. 115.1 though from Chris in that middle sector. Normally in terms of the middle sectors, Juan Rocco and Smalley have now retired. Chris is now up to 10th position, so he's gaining a few positions. That for opening lap, I think Lasource really caved him in terms of his chance of possibly getting pole position here. But it's Tom, Rudy and Grosso, who's the new driver actually here in the reserve for Tauris. We now come through the right-hander into the bus stop chicane, through the right-hander, through the left-hander, and Chris neatly invalidates, but really good lap by Grosso, who's out on top. Tom in second. Where did it all go wrong? Because who was out on top? It was, I'm trying to look down. It was Tom.
Was on top for 99% of that lap, and at the last second, Grosso just stole it, and Grosso was third coming through those last couple corners of the chicane, so either Tom, and I think Lynx was in second, no, it was Rudy in second, had a horrible chicane, or Grosso just found a lot of time in that chicane and made it work by 2 Wow, very close there. But yeah, Grosso just stole it at the death, and he's now P1. But like we've seen the past couple of weeks, some of the new drivers come in, have good qualifyings. Noah Jones may be an example. He was in the top 5 for a good chunk of that run of quali, and they can't put it together in the race. So don't want to discredit Grosso, but Grosso's going to have to put it together to the sprint race at the very least. And we know Tom is not going to go down with a fight, and yeah, we'll see how it shakes up.
I think we've gone in circles once again, because it's 0.02 of a second at the end of one-shot qualified. I know it's only one lap pace, but Grosso there out on top, Tom second, Hyper actually in third. Good qualifying session from him. Rudy was towards the top end of the vanguard as well. I think he might have lost it coming out the bus stop chicane, and that's why he dropped to fourth as well. But Tom obviously there in second, only 0.02 of a second off. The newcomer, of course, Grosso, it's his first appearance actually tonight here in Belgium in the sprint race, and of course in the feature race, as the conditions are totally different to what they were in qualifying, and it is full wet conditions with a lot of porpoising there on the left hand side of the track, but full wet conditions it seems, and these guys are not going to like it, and I think we might get a couple of safety cars here.
Oh, I bet you right now Grosso is wishing this was like the real life race where it would just parade under safety cars so he could get his first win with no challenge, but we're still going to have this race here. No virtual Burt Manlander is going to come out here and pace around the field. You will drive in these conditions. Will you survive in these conditions is a different story. But, yeah, it's going to be quite a fun thing here. And it will bring out some challenge for these drivers. And, like I said, if you don't want to bungle it because a lot of points are on the ground, shoot your shot. But it's easier said than done in these rainy conditions.
Yeah, definitely. So I think one man that will not be liking these conditions is Jensen. He's not even here, so that's really good for Jensen to obviously escape the sprint race here tonight and do the charity event instead. So that's a positive at least for him. But, oh, interesting, actually. Wow.
Wets.
Tom on a set of inters, Noah on a set of inters, but it is full wet conditions for the rest of the field. Tom on a set of inters. He must clearly feel that the conditions are going to improve as the session goes on. Looking at the puddles, it's surely full wet conditions.
No, yeah, this is full wet.
It could possibly be crossover period, though. I don't know. The formation lap is on, so we can't really see the difference here. But an interesting call by Tom. I can only think, 10 minutes into the race, which will be around 5 laps in, it's going to be intermediate conditions and the rest of the field are going to have to pit in.
Yeah, because, again, intermediates could make it 11 laps, so he's banking that the intermediate conditions, he can either survive them or it lasts long enough that nothing bad happens, and then he can kind of just negate a pit stop and have a full distance on the drivers. But I think he maybe is wishing a few more drivers with intermediate tires. Oh, there goes Grosso, spinning on the formation lap there, and he's on full wets. So, that raises even more questions now, because Grosso was clearly on wets and just looped it, now maybe no traction, but that would imply the track's a little bit too wet for even the wets, or he overheated the tires and it's gotta be too wet. So, very weird choice for Tom. And again, this is going to decision to see if we're going to help him win this sprint race or absolutely sink his ship.
Well, definitely, we're not going to get Michael Massey out on the track, at least, with the safety car and everything like that. We are going to get 11 laps worth of racing, unlike real life, of course, around here last year, where, obviously, they only got 2 racing laps. Could you even call them racing laps underneath the safety car, though? Probably not. But, Russell there out on top, Tom in second, Hyper there in third. And Jamie alluding to a point that I think I'm going to probably go on to as well. Tom is being smart, and he watched Formula 4 2 nights ago. Tom there, set of inters. I can only say, as I said earlier on there, on the formation lap, that Tom is probably thinking it's going to be intermediate conditions as the race goes on. Of course, like F2, we had a wet race around here, a wet sprint race, and nobody came into the pit lane. Nobody has to come into the pit lane because it is full wet conditions, it's intermediate, and of course no pit stops really are allowed because these cars will easily get 11 laps.
Yeah, because you don't have to pit, so again, if he can survive, that strategy will work out, but he has to survive. And that could be a different case of worms, because if he's really slipping for traction and the car's falling through the field, a bunch of wet drivers try to throw up his inside, he may not make it to 5 laps. So Tom's got to play the risk game here, and it's either going to go, he bet it all on black, it's either going to come up or it's going to go south.
Well, there's an AlphaTauri 1-2 though at the front end of the field. Grosso on the right-hand side of the grid, near to the pit wall, and Tom on the right-hand side of our screen. He's on the left-hand side of the grid as well, and he's probably going to get the better start if the inters are into play. But the 5 red lights are going out here for the sprint race here in Belgium, and it's lights out and away we go, and Grosso gets a very good start. Tom off the line is slow, and I think as Grosso did, he sprinted actually, and Tom has lost all sorts of positions off the start line, and now Rudy goes around the outside of Hyper and towards turn number 1, but it's Grosso that leads the way. He's only a second clear of Hyper in second. Rudy in third. I think everyone has cleaned through in the background safely. Chris is dropping down a few positions, but Chalkers, they might have got into a little bit of contact, but Tom is already down to 5th, and Chalkers has actually gone off slightly up the hill. Now coming through with Rouge and Rally on as Tom in in P6 at the minute. It's definitely not Inters. We can definitely tell you that. Black Box, Zoidemer and Steph on the back of him. Is he going to try not to move done in towards the column? Not quite. Shender goes right around the outside of Carlsbury in the back runner shot, leaves him short of room, neatly like a 2009 sort of incident there between them both. But Shender in 10th, Carlsbury in 11th. Grosso leads the way by 1.2 seconds. Hyper there in second, Rudy in third, and in the end it's not Inters. Shender is making another dive down the inside line. Black Box gets the move done on Tom just in front of this as well, and now Shender goes all the way around the outside. Steph back down on the inner though, gets the move done. So the Aston Martin now forces the Ferrari out wide. Carlsbury's now going side by side. Don't want to go side by side into poo on in the wet. David Coulthard and Michael Schumacher, of course, didn't prove that back in the day. And Carlsbury contacts. That was inevitable. And there's a crash. Shender into the wall, and Chris, I think, got caught up. Was it Chris? No, Juan Rocco got caught up in that as well. He's got damage. Shender is out of the race, and that was inevitable.
That was inevitable. There were two wide breasts there, and they were just sitting there. And I knew like something bad was going to happen. One twitch, that was that. It's pack racing Daytona with one twitch, and the whole field goes with it. And that sadly took Schender and Jurako out of the situation. But some of the drivers were lucky enough to escape out without any major damages. But we got Zoidemek on the back of Tom right now here. Again, Tom is really struggling right now. He's 3 down on the leader, and he's going to get around passing Zoidemek here. Going to hang it around the outside to break the inside. Can he outbreak Zoidem? Can Zoidem outbreak him? He's going to try to hang it on the inside now, and he'll successfully make the pass. Oh! Staff going to try to sneak it in as well, seeing an opportunity to go, and this is just a big car park behind Zoidem. This is going to end horribly at this rate. Alfa Romeo loses a Daniel. Up the road here, we got 3-wide battle going into quarter 1 here. Tom is going to get split, and he's going to lose a spot to both Carlos Bree. Steph going to try to hang it around, though. Alfa Romeo, Smalley going to try to make it as well. Tom is just got an anchor attached to his car right now, as he's going to fall down to 10th. In a lap and a half, 2 laps, it has been basically Tom gone from 2nd to 10th, and now he's got another trade behind him. And I think he's going to have to hope the rain lets him quickly. As now here comes Smalley, going to try to hang it around the inside again, going to try to outbreak Tom going in the corner up the road because he's Steph thinking about not going to do it, and Smalley is going to show the traction and make it work. So Tom down at 11th, and Funky Chicken sits the sights at 11th as well.
Chris into the wall as well. He tried to go down the inside of Chalkers. Daniel has to take a board in action. I think actually he's had a little bit of contact with the wall coming out of turn number 1, and that is why I think he's got a little bit of damage on the car. He's down to 15th behind Noah Jones. One Ruckle, by the way, came into the pit lane, set of intermediate compounder tyres. Rudy's right on the back of Hyper, though, coming through Puon. Grossel, there was 3 seconds clear already. Hyper in 2nd, Rudy in 3rd, Fleddy in 4th, Lynx in 5th, as we now come through in toward the Fania section of the track, coming through the Fania chicane at turns 12 and 13, and then, of course, in towards Campos and Stavolo, but Grosso leading the way. Hyper there in 2nd, Rudy in 3rd. The 2 McLarens are looking quite close as well and behind. Lynx and Fleddy. We've got to move further down the field. Chalker's getting the move done on Funky Chicken. That is on the mini-map that I saw that, but Grosso leads the way. Hyper in 2nd, Rudy in 3rd. The Italian, though, has got a very, very good start. Looking further down the field, though, Tom, is he catching? I'm tempted to say. I don't think he is.
I don't think he's getting hounded by Chicken and Calker, so it may not be the best example of that corner because he was getting basically rounded by both those drivers. So we'll give him a lap here to see if it works out. But as I take it, we'll see here if Chicken's going to make the move out the outside. Tom tried to close the door there, then maybe not let it go, but Chicken's going to force his way through, and he'll make the pass successfully. It looks like Chalker's going to follow suit on the inside, and yeah, no traction there. Oh, they touch wheels. Chalkers and Tom there. Tom, not going to be too thrilled. If you're going to pass me a little bit cleaner than that, please, and thank you. Tom's going to get the spot back. Oh, something with Carlsby.
Steph as well. Yes, Steph down the inside of Zoidem. They're going side by side on the run down and towards the Rouge and Radion. Somebody's going to have to back out this, but Steph has taken the inside line. Out of Lassource, he nearly did the up and under on both him and Carlsbury and on Zoidem ahead. So Steph, there in P9, trying to hunt them down. Zoidem's got really good pace though on the back of Carlsbury. Looks to the outside line, I think. Now could go to the inside. He tops to the outside though, in toward Lecom. That's a beautiful move. Around the outside from Zoidem. Gets the car stopped, gets the job done. He's into 7th. Carlsbury will try and fight this. On the switchback out of 7, on the run down in towards Bruxelles. He cannot let up in the action though, which is something at least. Carlsbury on the back of Zoidem, they touch slightly, and Zoidem forced out wide. Carlsbury escapes the scene of the incident. I think Carlsbury, if he's listening, has to give up position because that was a force off track.
Yeah, if he will see what he does here. I think he's going to drive from the distance, so he's going to let it go to the stewards here and see how they rule it. But right now, looking at the gap to the leader right now, Tom is 17 behind Grossi right now. You just saw Steph get a little bit of a snap there. But if we look at timing and scoring, I think a pit stop delta run here is 25 seconds, so unless it starts to lighten up sooner rather than later, this strategy will not have worked out for Tom. And looking at the comments, Jensen did make a good point there. He doesn't even think there was the right call for Tom there, because it will be only a good strategy if it drives. So Jensen coming in with a little bit of insight there, as I do think...
Rudy! Rudy's going side by side, sorry to cut you off, coming through Blanchimont. He forced Hyper out wide, and now they're going to go side by side into the bus stop chicane. Rudy trying to go all the way on the outside. He ups to the inside line now into the bus stop, coming through turn 19. Grosso leads the way. There's a yellow flag, and I think that's one Rocco that has found a set of inters. And Rudy on the back of Hyper still, down in towards turn number 1 at La Source. And Rudy... Gets to the outside line, tries to cut on the inside. It's so difficult in the wet to get this move done, and Hyper holds on to position for now. Rudy in third. I was going to say, though, I thought it was actually Inters, because one Rocco was just around losing 4 or 5 tenths a lap, actually, as Chris has picked up a 10-second penalty for couldn't cross the bus stop chicane. But I was going to say there, before one Rocco had his incident, I thought he was actually not too far off the pace, so we might see the crossover for you before the end, at least.
Yeah, I was going to point that out for that battle between Hyper and Rudy was happening there. I was going to say Wacko is on a set of intermediate tires. He just pitted for him, so he may be something to keep an eye on and see how his pace is holding. I think Tom, he just got passed by Chalkers, so Zoidman got passed by Steph there. And, yeah, Tom's just kind of hanging on here. Yellow flag sector 3, I think that's Juan Rocco. It is. He's lost it down the start-finish rate, so, yeah, it is not clear intermediate tires yet, which I guess kind of shows points for Tom and Jones able to keep it clean for the most part on their tires.
Yeah, he's spinning around. Get out of my way, I think. Carly Minogue will be very proud of that one. Hyperfun's White coming through Puon, though, on board with Rudy, as Hyper's still in second. Rudy in third. Grosso, though, how is he 5.5 seconds clear of Hyper? He is looking consummate ease out on track. Hyper and Rudy obviously battling, but Grosso has not got this sort of pace, I think. Surely not. There's got to be some sort of battling going on ahead. That's behind. There's another yellow flag, and that's his one. Not going, that's a VSC, and I think he's lost his front wing. He's lost the front wing coming out of a Rouge and Radion, and now that is him into the wall. And luckily he's got the car going, but full course yellow out on track. VSC deployed, and one Rocco will be trooping back into the spike lane. But Grosso actually coming to the final couple of corners. Is anybody going to try and risk it coming for a set of inters? Don't think so. I think they're more confident to stay out for a set of wets.
I've just seen what happened with Tom.
Black Box is in.
Black Box. It's kind of shocking there.
Wow.
We'll see if he's got damage or not, because he was in a bit of a couple scraps there. Maybe minor, he wants to get it fixed on the VSC. Chicken gets 5 for a collision with Smalley. Yeah, he's the only driver coming in. We'll see what tires he puts on. He's putting on set of intermediate tires. So, yeah, he's coming in for intermediates, and I think he's actually going to come out ahead of Tom. So, bit of an odds right. So if it works, he could kind of make
might be out of Chalkers.
Yeah, he's going to split. Oh, it's going to be close. Yeah, he's going to just find Chalkers just ahead of Tom. So, a little bit of situation. Juwan Wacko has decided to retire from the session. We're still under VSC conditions, by the way.
He's actually lost that. Sorry to cut you off. He's lost it coming through Puon. I wonder if that's going to be a full course safety car instead of a full course yellow. I don't know how the strategy call obviously is going to be. We've had this VSC at least for a good half a lap at least now. And one Rocco crasher coming through Puon, he went off into the wall, he must have got caught on the inside curb and spun it, but it's green flag racing, there is that yellow flag in sector 2, I wonder if it's going to redeploy. No, the car is gone, and Rudy's going down the inside of No Name, and he puts it Hyper into the wall. Rudy had the inside line though, and I think he just had a bit of snap of oversteer which forced him into Hyper. Hyper nearly got forced in the wall. Luckily though, he has not got any damage as a result of that. He loses position to Fleddy, but Hyper in fourth. One lucky boy, I've got to say.
Now, that was a full pucker moment right there, and it was a bit of a moment, and I think he's glad he got through. He lost spot to Fleddy, but he can still keep it going, so at the very least. But yeah, back to what could think about Grosso. I mean, he just came out of nowhere, and he's currently 4.8 clear of Rudy. So it just makes you wonder where Grosso's even come from in this point, because he is putting on a great performance here in the wet conditions at the very least. But kind of searching through the field here to see if anyone's close. We do have Lynx and Hyper, but I don't think Lynx is anywhere close to making anything happen here on Hyper. No, he is not. So I guess something to keep an eye on is Black Box. See if he can make some time on those intermediate tires, or if he's just kind of, again, maybe made the wrong call here, because it doesn't look like it's light up at all. So I don't think we're anywhere close to making the conditions work, as we'll see if the McLaren, he'll just tuck behind, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Lynx makes a move on Hyper this time by. But yeah, we'll see how Black Box does this lap here, to see if he gains any time on the leaders.
I think so. He's 4.4 seconds behind Rudy on the back of Grosso. Lynx, by the way, is on the back of Hyper coming through Rouge and Radion, and Hyper's actually taken that flat out coming through there. Lynx backed off the throttle, and that cost him 2.5 tenths per second, because he was right underneath the rear wing in towards the Rouge and Radion, and then he's lost the pace, and then he's lost the time. So doesn't obviously try to get the move done in towards Lecombe, but now coming through Lecombe chicane at turn 8, Zordom is on the back of Steph as well. I don't think that's going to be close enough. But Black Box, this is the big thing that I was going to come on to. Black Box, 3.6 seconds away from the back of Chalkers. It doesn't look like he's too far, actually, off the pace compared to the wets. Coming through Lecombe, going through the corners, it's 3.7 seconds, so it's staying rather stagnant. He's only losing 2-3 tenths of a second there. There is not much difference. As this rain begins to let up, which I think it is beginning to out on track, I think we're going to see a transition to Inters, because there's not much in it at the time at all, and the guys on the set of Inters could soon become the leaders of the race if it is to ease up, which I think it might still, with only 5 laps to go to the end.
But with 5 laps to go, again, luckily it's a long lap around Belgium, so even if it does change, do you see a driver maybe try to stick it out? Because you see some drivers like pitting, but like Grosse, for instance, if we go to intervals here for a minute for leader, it is basically he's 25 seconds clear of Grosse. If we assume they gain 3, 4, 5 seconds a lap, it's still kind of a big gap. So it makes me wonder if some of the drivers, like you're going to see if it does switch over, drivers like Chalker, Smalley, Zoidema, Step, all come in here and change over. But I wouldn't be shocked because we just saw Grosse go fast lap the race, so I don't think we're conditioned over yet. But by the time we hit that window, let's say lap 9, lap 10, I don't see like some of the top half pitting because there's no point, and can Black Box make it work? So I'm keeping an eye on Black Box. Oops, something happened with Zoidema, Lynx and Hyper.
Hyper just... I don't know how to really describe that. Hyper broke perfectly for the corner. Lynx just exploited the inside line and got the job done down on the inside of turn 1. Lynx is through. It was literally like a partner of the Red Sea on the curb. From Hyper's perspective, Hyper though was going to have the run up towards Lacombe, but that's probably the easiest switchback I think I've ever seen in the wet from Lynx. That was really impressive, and he's into 4th as he goes wide in towards Lacombe.
Yep, I was just going to finish my point there on Black Box. Is Black Box at a 1:59 that time? His fastest lap on the wets was a 1:58, so he is holding station with his fastest lap time, but wet time, but it's nowhere under to Grosse's pace, who did a 1:56 on a set of wets. So intermediate tires, if you got the pace, you can maybe make it work, as Thomas caught the back of Black Box, for instance, but it's not enough that you're going to be able to pull to the leaders, though. So right now, it is still wet conditions, and with the clock ticking away, if you're on intermediate tires, you better hope it dries out this lap or next lap, so a lot of those field drivers have to make that reaction, or else you may be kind of sticking in 11th or 12th, maybe a little bit higher if you're unlucky. But yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Hyper again, Lynx kind of making the big battle on the show. We do got Zoidema slowly reeling in Steph, but again, not really anywhere close to making a pass happen here. But I think everyone's just kind of getting into their roles here and just kind of holding station.
Yeah, Hyper's just picked up a 3-second penalty. There's been numerous times actually on this lap where I've seen him go wide. He's obviously picked up a penalty there, coming down the exit of Stavolo, coming through Campos and then through Stavolo. Zoidema on the back of Steph. This is the closest battle you can really call out on track, so I don't think Tom and Black Box, you can really call it a battle. But then again, I'm looking at the conditions and thinking it is trying to ease off. Black Box has not lost too much time compared to Chalkers. Tom is right on the back of this. He's only 3 tenths away. Black Box actually takes a little bit of grasp with him coming through there, and Tom takes plunge 1 flat out, and he's going to launch it down the inside line in towards the bus stop chicane. Not quite, but Inters against Inters, Aston Martin against AlphaTauri, and I think the AlphaTauri tries to exploit the inside line, couldn't get the traction off the corner though, and Black Box goes well away down and towards turn number 1 and holds on to the position for now.
Yeah, they're running about the same pace again, like I said last lap, so they are running about what their best on their wets were. So, well, maybe not in Tom's case, but in Black Box's case. So, yeah, they're kind of holding station, and again, it'll be interesting to kind of note what happens. Yeah, so again, but with the time clicking away, I just think, like I said, is if it were to dry out, let's say lap 9, it's going to take, is now Daniel goes fast with the wet, so it still shows wets are still the ideal tire, but I don't think it's going to, that switchover period's not going to come. And if it does, it's not coming until lap 10 or lap 11, and at that point, it's too late for them to kind of capitalize. So, as Tom's actually going to go stick it on the outside here of Black Box, trying to make a good move here, nice. And he's going to make essentially work. So, Tom is now going to be the lead car intermediate tires, and it does look like it's letting up a little bit in the clouds, but yeah. I don't know if it's going to be enough.
I don't think it'll be enough for the Inters to get going, but we could potentially say the rain is definitely easing off. We can definitely tell that. And Tom, for the first time, just trying to catch the back of Chalkers. Chalkers is not a real quick driver in terms of comparison. But look, Inters already. Tom has just closed 5 tenths of a second. I know he ran wide there slightly, but he was 5 tenths of a second quicker just coming through Poo on there alone. The rain is letting up. The track is beginning to dry, if you could even call it that. And Tom, now, I think it's too much of a disadvantage that I think he's got to try and get towards the back. If anywhere, and if he picks up the pace and the track obviously dries every single lap, which it is, and Tom is catching now on that set of Inters, Tom potentially could get, I think, P6 out on track if this is to come online, but with still only, what, 3 laps to go. Can come online, it looks like it is. Certainly through the corners, Tom is looking quicker. Inters are looking quicker now. And drivers obviously ahead have now got to basically be forced in transition. They've got to stay out on track. And literally, they can only do that because all of the rest of the guys was on a set of inters. And to be honest, if the track does dry out, which, like really quickly if it dries out, Tom and Blackbox should be towards the top end of the field by the end of the race. I don't think there will be, though, because it's just literally too wet. The puddles have now pretty much gone off the track surface. It is drying, but it's not going to dry quick enough, which was what you were saying.
It's not drying quick enough at all. And also, Tom, kind of added insult to injury, has a 3-second time penalty, so even if he gets to the back chalkers, he has to clear him by 3. So he kind of shot himself in the foot there by getting that penalty, so it's going to make it worse. Self-flag Sector 1, that looks like it's Mercedes, a chicken. It actually, Daniel. So, yeah, Daniel looks like a little bit struggling. Is he on wets as well? No, he's got no front wing. That's why. So, he must have made a mistake somewhere coming off 1, and he's got no damage. But, yeah, also something else worth noting. Rudy has gained about a second on Grosso. So, either Grosso's kind of kicking it into low gear, or Rudy is really pushing to try to catch because, yeah, the time is coming down a little bit. It's not enough that Rudy's going to catch Grosso at the rate he's going, but it is kind of worth noting that Rudy is at least holding station with Grosso.
I'm just watching Tom's time tick down. It's 2.5 seconds the gap. Tom is flying and he gets caught on the curb. Nearly spins the car around. But look at the pace of Tom. These inters suddenly just came online. They've picked up completely. Isn't enough, potentially, to get that P6, P5 I was on about. Also, yeah, 55.8. Is Tom going to be quicker than the 55.8? If it is, then it's clearly inters. He is using up all of his battery on the run up through Blanchemont. I'm going to keep a real close eye on Tom. He's going to get chalkers this lap around, I think. No question about it. He's looking so much quicker than everyone else now out on track. This is, I think, going to be a quicker lap than Grosso as well. It's going to be around 2 seconds quicker, potentially. Tom around the final corner. It's going to be a 154, I think, from Tom. Yeah, 154.8, and it's definitely inters. So Tom now catching. He's right on the back of chalkers. And do you know what? He's probably going to get him toward Lecom.
But here's the problem. He's chalkers is 7 seconds behind Smalley, and then it's Smalley, Zoidema, Steph kind of in a little bit of a bubble, and then the next car 6 steps, 6 backs to Carlsby. So it's kind of a hard... Sorry, Carlsby's in that train. So Carlsby's there goes Tom. Tom going to hang it around the outside here, and he's going to make it successfully work. Funky Chicken fast lap on a 188 tire. So yeah, it is intermediate time now, but I think too little too late as Tom will get the pass, and now he'll have to try to at least get 10th. I think he'll get 3 clear chalkers before the night is through, but I don't think he's getting any farther up the grid. So at the end of the day, it's working, but it's not working at a great rate, and sadly it's going to be a case of what if, because as we do see, actually I think someone's pitting. It's Daniel. Sorry, I thought it was the other Alfa Romeo there. But yeah, he is making those times work, and at the very least, he's having fun in his own pace. As Daniel's just retired in the pit lane on lap 10 here. But yeah, Tom is just flying. But again, too little too late. But again, Rudy is, again, really in Grosse, but not a fast enough rate.
I'm going to make the boldest prediction of my league racing career here. Tom is going to get Smalley and Zoidema before the end of the race.
Oh, I say no. I'm willing to take that bet. I say no.
I'm honestly watching that time come down. It's 3.8 seconds. He's caught already 3.5 seconds this lap around. Black Box is on the back of Chalkers as well, and Noah is all over the back of this. And this potentially could be a 3 wide down towards Blanchemont. Chalkers on the back of Noah. Noah's on the back of Black Box. Black Box to the inside line. Chalkers is shooting, got to get out of the way here. Noah to the inside line. I tell you what, they've managed that really well. Noah through and he's into 12. Chalkers now through. Black Box are into 11. Noah there into 12. Chalkers now down into 13th and goes completely wide, coming through the final corner. And Pepsi 2.2 seconds, 53.1 from Tom. He's only 2 seconds behind. I tell you what, he could still get them.
I think you may be a little more correct, but if he catches them, I'm more curious if he'll actually hold the spots because of the. Actually, they all got penalties, so never mind. He'll get the spots anyway. So I think I may have bet the wrong horse here, but you never know. You may lose the back end.
I'm just watching a ball with him. It's 1.3 seconds now. He's got deployment to use up down the straight as well. We are on the final lap, by the way. We haven't totally brought on board with the leaders for one reason and one reason only, because they're just not battling with anyone. Grosso leads the way. Rudy in second, Fleddy in third. That's probably going to be your top 3, even if penalties come into play. But Tom, on the back of Smalley. This is the battle to watch on board with. The rain is easing up. The conditions are beginning to lighten up as well. And Tom, I think, is going to go possibly down the inside line here. In through No Name, in towards No Name. Now on the the outside in towards turn number 9, and it's easy from Tom. Walters around the outside, and do you know what? I think he might even get Stefan this as well. Tom on the back of Zoidberg. You may as well get the National Lottery numbers on Tuesday for the Euro Millions, because Tom is on the back of Zoidberg, and my prediction, my bold prediction of maybe saying that Tom is going to finish ahead of Zoidberg and Smalley, you may as well just have called it on the final lap of the race, because Tom now around the outside and towards Campos, tries to get the move done, leads Zoidberg short of room, and I think that might be going to the stewards with that incident. Grosso, by the way, is into the final corner, he leads the way, and then round the final corner he comes. The Italian has been completely dominant, and Grosso now towards the line, wins in the sprint race in Belgium. Rudy towards the line will finish in second, Freddy in third, Tom is getting through on Steph as well, and Carlsbury, what has happened to Carlsbury? Is he spun it coming through Blanchimont? No, he's run out of fuel. Carlsbury has run out of fuel, and Tom now potentially is going to get ahead of Steph, and Steph has now run out of fuel, I think, as well. Tom to the line finishes in 6th. Steph and Carlsbury, I think, luckily for him, across the line actually between Black Box and Carlsbury. There's a big incident coming across the line. Tom in the end in 7th. Behind Steph in the end, but only on penalties. And if that honestly came, if that rain condition basically came and had dried up 2 laps earlier, I'm gonna say this now, I think Tom could have won that.
I don't know if he would have won it, because remember, he was still got to make up another 6 to Hyper, and then I don't think he would have won it. Lynx was 8 clear, 6 clear of that. I don't think he was going to win it. I don't think that was going to happen, but if it was 2 laps earlier, maybe someone would have pitted. So, actually, you may have had a case there, but I don't know, because I feel like someone like a winner here today, the Italian, would have probably stung out. Rudy would have stung out as well. So, I don't know. I think that would have been an interesting case, but I don't think that would have happened. But I was already wrong once, so I have a little bit of a habit of that. So we'll see here. Well, actually, we won't see here. That would have been the realm of science fiction. But anyway, 1 for 1 on his debut here today. Rudy second. Lynx in third. So Lynx will kind of close the gap in on Rudy. Not probably the points that he wanted, but at the very least, he'll get some points so far. And then we still got a feature 8 left, so more points that can be left on the table here. But at the very least, Tom going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball starting the race. But the new driver going to start out on pole for the featured race here.
Tom was saying OP strat clearly. I totally agree with him, to be honest, in those final 2 laps, definitely, because he was much quicker than everyone else. Finishing the end in 7th, he's in a promising position, though, I think. Even in 7th position, he's in a real promising position. But as you mentioned, Pepsi, Grosso, from lights to flag, takes the race win here, takes the sprint race win, and is also in pole position, of course, for the feature race. Rudy there in 2nd, they all drove very well, I've got to say. Fleddy there in 3rd, Lynx in 4th was commenting about overheating in the final couple of laps of the race. He finishes in 4th. Hyper there in 5th. Stefan 6th, only ahead of Tom because of penalties. Tom ahead of Black Box there in 8th. Cosby there in 9th. Smalley in 10th. Noah and Zoidberg, of course, ran off the top 12, but only, of course, top 7 get points, I believe, around here as well. Looking at some of the Discord messages that are coming through as well, Smalley was saying it was like driving the first lap blindfolded. That is how bad the spray was, I think, in those wet conditions. And Grosso obviously agreeing with Lynx in terms of the overheating on the tyres, and they of course overheated the final 2 laps of the race, and that's why we saw Tom being so quick. And if you of course want to put the National Lottery numbers on after my prediction came right, you can do, because I think I'm the luckiest boy alive at this point.
Yeah. I think it's not really 100% your luckiness. I think it's a situation of you've been commentating so many races in F1 2021, F1 2020, that you just kind of know how to pick your strategy. You know the engine, and you've picked it quite to a degree that you just know what's going to happen. So I wouldn't say more luck, more skill. So good on you for at least calling that correctly, and at least good on my brain. Why is my brain blanking here on the word I'm looking for? Train of thought, come back to me. Train of thought, come back to me. I can't remember, but now I remember. Thank you. Actually, you know what? I'll hold that thought for later. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting race here for the very least.
Yes, it definitely will be. Hyper, by the way, saying, is it a free tyre choice? Yes, it is, because we've had a full wet race, basically, full wets and inters. It is basically going to be a free tyre choice. We had that in F2, even though it dried up, of course, in the sprint race. We had that choice of tyre. Everyone started on that free choice of tyre. So, free tyre choice for everyone. If it's anything like F2, where they started on that free choice of tyre, we should see a majority of the field actually on a set of medium compounded tyres. The best strategy around here. Set of softs to set of mediums can work, but they overheat quite a lot, I've got to say, in the first stint. So the softs will only last maybe 8 laps if you can get them really online. You can probably last around 8 laps on them. Mediums probably looking at more 12 to 13 laps, and then drivers will pit in, of course, for that set of soft compounded tyre. How did you enjoy that race, by the way, Pepsi? Because that was absolutely thrilling to commentate on. Sometimes I didn't even know what was going on.
I mean, yeah, up front it was a little bit of the kind of just a relaxing situation, but kind of seeing the end strategy with Tom there, making those intermediate tires work. It was kind of cool, and again, a what if those tires would have lasted 1 or 2 more laps, what would have happened? But yeah, it was kind of fun to watch through the end. In the beginning, it was a little bit dicey in the front, so it was like an interesting. Like the front was like the beginning was good, the end was good, the middle was fine, not as much action, but it's still a great sprint race. If it's anything to do with the feature race, I think we'll have quite a good showing here. And my one quick comment of the day: if you want to beat Grosso, switch your national flag to the North Macadamia flag, because they seem to beat Italy in tight situations. So put the Italian in his place.
Definitely so, and I think Pepsi's cat's bell, I think, approves of that as well, because I can hear it in the background on your end. The absolute joys of having pets right beside you when you commentate, and of course, live and exclusive here on Twitch on TTML F1. But of course, as Pepsi said, sprint race is now done, feature race is on, and of course, you've already seen Spa in terms of the track length, 7 kilometres in length. The 2 DRS zones, of course, one down the start-finish straight, one down in toward the Lacombe chicane at turns 5 and 6. 22 laps now, so in terms of theory, I'm going to go through this, if it was a dry race in sprint qualifying, drivers probably would have lasted only 4 or 5 laps, and that's to the soft compounded tyres. Double that, basically, in terms of your strategy. So you're going to be seeing drivers pitting in lap 8, lap 9, I think, for set of softs. Mediums as well, probably would have been pitting in lap 6, lap 7 in that sprint race if it was dries. Double that, it's going to be around lap 12 to 14 on a set of medium compounded tyres, and then everyone else, of course, will go on to a set of soft compounded tyres as we go along. Funky Chicken, by the way, is resetting the grid now, I believe, actually, because everyone's still in the lobby. Might already be done. I think I could see him typing, certainly, so it might just well be done very soon indeed. If not, though, we have got that feature race to look forward to, and we are going to be starting on that ready up strategy, and free tyre choice unless you are Tom, you must start on inters, he says. That's a joke, clearly.
Yeah, it is. It's still kind of comical, though. You made it work once, so maybe, who knows, maybe we'll reign in the feature race, and that actually may work. Who knows?
Who knows indeed, but we are going to get going, of course, here in Belgium for the feature race. By the way, I'm now going to put my lights and shut my curtains and everything. It's actually raining here now in the north of England, which is typical, I think, of British weather at this stage. Had snow during the week as well, which wasn't that great either. But we are going to go going for the feature race. 22 laps, of course, here. With, of course, no qualifying. Everyone has obviously had their practice in that sprint qualifying. How do we see the race looking out?
It's going to be hard to beat Grosso, but now with Tom going to be on normal tires, Rudy was showing some good pace near the end. If it's on dries, we don't know what Grosso brings in dry conditions. We saw him during qualifying, he was good, but does he have good, strong pace? Well, obviously you saw during the wets. I think it's a little bit more of a challenge, but I think Rudy will definitely bring it here, because now he'll be kind of on the back on the line. We also got Tom now. He's going to be that strategy. Lynx as well, so it's not going to be as easy for Grosso to kind of run away here as it was during the sprint race, but I definitely see some challenges coming. But again, Grosso is the driver to beat in the AlphaTauri.
I'm just going to say it now. I'm predicting to be a wet race. You watch. Oh, it's beautiful blue skies and sunshine. Why don't you have it? Literally the opposite has happened of what I've just said, which is really good. Blue skies, though, sunshine, but that doesn't mean to say that we're going to get rain in this race. If you watch...
I was going to say, I don't even see a cloud in the sky. It looks beautifully... Actually, I see a little bit of white, but I think this is a nice, clear day.
It is a beautiful, clear day, but around a track like this, with 7 kilometres in length, of course, you've seen how conditions quickly can change. F2, take that for example, because the conditions completely change in the space of one lap. One lap, I think it was round about a third of the way through the race, around lap 8 and lap 9, wet conditions started to come into play, and then obviously drivers had to pit in for that set of inters. Luckily there was a safety car around that period, and then the second safety car period came out, and do you know what? The rain starts to ease off, pretty much stopped when the safety car was going. Drivers, some of them, actually came in to the pit lane and obviously picked up penalties as a result. But in terms of the actual action, it was unbelievable. Thrilling end to what was a quite ordinary race, I've got to be honest, in F2 on Thursday. Are we going to get more of the same tonight? I don't think so.
Nah, no. But you never know. We may see some good action here at the very least, but yeah, I think they will be a little bit different than F2, but that's not a bad thing. Action comes in different ways in different forms, and things may come out and be quite enjoyable at the very least. As we wait for the 5 red lights for the formation lap start here, is about to start here. We'll see what tire choice everyone is on, because like you said, it is free tire choice, and I at least see Grosso is on a set of softs, but I think that Haas is on a set of mediums.
Yes, indeed. So the top 4 actually are on a set of soft compound tyre. That's Grosso, Rudy, Fleddy, and Lynx, all on a set of soft compound tyre. Everyone else interestingly, Hyper, Steph, Tom, Blackbox, Cosby, Smalley in the top 10, starting on that set of mediums. Noah, Zordimer, Funky Chicken, Chokers, Daniel, Juan, Rocco, and Shenda, all on a set of mediums. Chris, interestingly, going for a set of soft compound tyres. Now, normally we see a majority of the field going for a set of mediums, and I didn't expect the rain, actually, in TTML F2 when that race actually happened. So, maybe looking with a little bit of hindsight in terms of that, top 4 obviously going for that set of soft compound tyres, want to try and break away basically from the medium train, who's going to be led by Hyper, and you saw Hyper's pace there in the sprint race, even on wet conditions. He could not keep up with the front 2, could not keep up with their pace, and Hyper there, pretty much going to be, I think, the real cork in the bottle. This is collisions all the way down the field. Chokers, Chris, Daniel, and Juan Rocco getting disqualified.
Yeah, Juan Rocco gets disqualified. No, 4 cars there. I was looking at my phone there for a second. Look up, and 4 cars are now just disqualified. So I think it was a little bit of a quarantine effect there at the very least. And luckily, no damage, so they'll be fine. Just going to start in the grid, but they're not going to get their tires nice and warmed up. But again, it could always be worse. You could DNF under the formation lap, and that would really be a kick in the teeth. Maybe 2022 will bring that for the Thunder. But anyway, Grosso, Rudy, Fleddy all coming around here. Lynx all warming their tires up and trying to get situational in here. And again, I know we keep saying I don't want to put too much pressure on Tom because I feel like the narrative is like shifting on Tom. But again, Tom will be someone to watch here because if I remember a call back, short view back to the past here for UK, he was somewhat strong in the sprint race, and in the feature race, he was kind of about 5th. He was because he won the sprint race, but got pedally back to 5th, and then came from 5th and 6th on the grid, if I'm not mistaken, up to the lead. So again, Tom's done it once for this calendar year, so maybe something to keep an eye on for race 2.
Chokers, by the way, saying in the Discord, no rain forecast for the race. Hope he is not going to be having us on if it rains later on in the race, but you never know. We have to keep our options open, obviously, if Chokers is keeping us on our toes in the commentary box. Quickly, though, who's your top 3?
Let's go Grosso, Tom, Rudy. There.
Interesting. I'm going to go Rudy, Tom, and Colesbury for my top 3. I think Colesbury's got a good chance. He's been showing good pace. He showed it in Saudi Arabia last week before, of course, he hit the wall. Colesbury there in P9. Watch out for him in this race. He looks quite quick. But the 5 red lights about to go out here, of course, in Belgium. It is the feature race. It is round number 7 of the championship, and it is lights out and away we go. Grosso takes the lead down in towards turn number 1. There's a slow stop further down the field from now for Romeo, but Fleddy to the inside line on Rudy, and Rudy actually goes around the outside of Grosso in towards turn number 1, and Rudy leads the way. There's a car forced off, and there's a Red Bull forced off as well, but Rudy leads the way on the exit of turn number 1. Grosso, Lynx, Fleddy, 3rd and 4th. One Rocco, I think, has been caught up in an incident coming out of turn number 1 as well, but look at Lynx all over the back of Grosso. Grosso right on the back of Rudy. This reminds me a bit like Perez and Ocon, and everyone going 4 wide pretty much down in towards Lake Holm. Rudy, though, I think is going to hold the lead of the race. Grosso tries to go all the way around the outside. Lynx there in 3rd. Fleddy in 4th. Hyper's keeping up with the DRS train at the minute. Colesbury getting moved on Steph around the outside line in toward Lake Holm. Gets the job done. He's into 7th. Noah on the back of Blackbox running down the hill. Blackbox actually darted down the inside of Steph. Tries to force the move. And now Noah thinks about going all the way around the outside in towards X corner. And there's contact between them both. Blackbox is hard into the wall. Surely right side end plate damage on the car. Noah wouldn't be surprised if he's got damage either. Swanee and Funky Chicken are going side by side. Chris has already made up a few positions as a result as well, but Swanee through his into 10th as a car got massively wide. Coming through, was that Daniel going off track? No, it was Shender going off track, and Daniel going on the outside line. Chalkers dives it on the inside of Black Box, gets the job done, but up the field, Rudy leads the way. Grosso in second, Links in third. Mad opening lap of the race, but Rudy got the jump on Grosso in towards Sermon and leads the race.
Maybe a bit of rookie nerves there as Rudy kind of shows his pace there. But two things I want to note. Juan Waco spun on his own on lap 1. That's why he went wrong way around. Now he's in the wall. That's wheel off right at Old Lady's house as Urango is going to be pitting. And that could be a safety car. We'll see if it's triggered. It's off the line,
it's
though.
Off track.
So, yeah, it's off track. They probably won't call anything. But further up the grid, we do got a battle here between Chalkers and, Senator Black Box, and also Tom and Hyper fighting as well. Double the battles, double the fun, as Tom is going to get past Hyper's. Carlsby's going to fall in line. I think Carlsby's going to try to make a move on Hyper. Going to go around the outside, but Hyper's going to go a little bit deep, and he's going to hold spot, at least for now, as Chris is going to pass Funky Chicken for 11th. One more thing I do want to point out from that opening lap is it looks like Black Box is he pit for damage, so it was very minor damage, though. It didn't look like he lost much of his end plate, but just to come in safer than sorry to fix it up. As we got Chicken passing Chris, 11th to 12th. And I think Carlsby is going to answer back on Hyper here. Haas on Haas battle. We're going to have Carlsby going down the inside, but now he'll just back it down. He had the opportunity, but not that, as I think Hyper takes a very creative line there going through the end of that corner.
Yeah, he had to cut the corner there coming through Lake Home, and he didn't really gain much time because of it. Carlsbury don't think was going to get that move done anyways if it was going to come side by side. So Carlsbury on the back of Hyper, but there is the train beginning to form. Tom obviously is past Hyper. He's up into 5th. He is keeping tabs on Fleddy as he runs wide, actually coming out of Puon. But Hyper there is already a second off. He didn't look like he had genuine good pace actually in the sprint race, and in the feature race that is coming back to bite him right on the backside, and he is dropping off the pace compared to Tom, who clearly looks like he's a quicker driver than Hyper at this stage. Fair play to Hyper though, he's still in 6th position, not trying to berate him at all, but he's there in P6. If he can close up that gap to 0.8 of a second, he'll be within that slipstream range and within that DRS range as well, so it's going to have to be crucial to get the move done. Speaking of moves done as well, Chris on the back of Chalkers running through in toward Blanchemont. Don't think he's going to be nowhere near close enough coming through Blanchemont to even attempt this move in toward the bus stop chicane, so it's not going to be a battle. Rudy leads the way though, Grosso in 2nd, Link's getting caught a bit sideways at the final corner there in 3rd, and Rudy does set the fastest lap of the race, 45 flat. Fleddy there in 4th, Tom in 5th, but Hyper's chance, possibly down in towards Sermon to get within that DRS range is now on, as he drops 1.3 seconds out of the slipstream range. Grosso though, on the back of Rudy. I think everyone's just going to sit tight, I think, for now, just waiting behind until the pit stops.
Yeah, because right now top 4 are going to pit earlier than the medium runners, so kind of makes sense not to fight each other, because if you fight, obviously on the lap they're going to pit in, you're definitely going to want to get the advantage as Gross gets a good push there. Carl's being Hyper fighting. Carl's will make it successful for 6. Queen, quick pass. You love to see it, well, unless you're Hyper. We also got Chris passing Chalkers here, so he'll also make the move successfully as well, kind of similar to what just happened between the Hosses. But yeah, I think everyone's kind of holding station for now. Obviously, if you're a little bit farther down the field, is Zoidema, and I think Shender wide off there, resets the track. Bit of a naughty boy there. He'll be getting a knock on his door from the stewards. But yeah, that's a shame to see. But yeah, Grosso, Link, Fleddy, Tom, top 5 breakaway. And yeah, Carlsby trying to kind of bring that second train back. That will include all the way down the Chicken. And then you got Chris, Chalkers, all their little bit battles near the end. As now Chris gets a 3-second time penalty at the very least. So he'll be the first one sitting on the naughty stools. Oh, Fleddy makes a move on Lynx.
I think there was a bit of a switch around possibly there, because Fleddy is now outside of a second compared to Lynx. I'm not sure if there was a mistake, a genuine mistake there from Lynx. Fleddy, though, is on the back and trying to close in, but he cannot close, and I think there's going to be another order here, possibly in towards the bus stop chicane, as Lynx closes up on the back of Fleddy. Is Fleddy going to let Lynx back through if there was a genuine mistake there? No, he sits tight and they're out of the DRS range compared to Grosso and Rudy ahead, so that is an absolute disaster for the McLarens initially. Fleddy doesn't open up that ERS, Lynx is on the back of him. I think Fleddy though, if he is 9/10 away down in towards turn 1, Grosso just sits on the back of Rudy for now, but again, outside of a second coming out the corner, I think he's just going to be within DRS range here, Fleddy, but Grosso all on the back of Rudy is going to get the move done for the lead of the race. Lynx on the back of Fleddy as well, so we'll try and chop and change between them both. Here comes Grosso though on the outside line, easiest move you'll see all night I think, and Lynx is going to follow through the second easiest move you'll see all night as well. He's on the outside of Fleddy, they go side by side, wheel to wheel, but Lynx is through, he's into 3rd. Nice moves there, Grosso into the lead, Lynx in 3rd, and obviously no quarrels in terms of those moves and no fighting in terms of repercussions either, and they pull away now because Tom's outside of a second.
Yeah, I think Tom may have made a mistake there because he was on the back of Floody and Lynx. I was kind of keeping an eye on Rudy and Grosse, so I think something happened with Tom. He lost a little bit of touch. Luckily, again, he's now back in DRS range, so he'll be okay. But, yeah, I'm kind of shocked that Lynx and Floody switched back. Obviously, it makes sense to pass, but if Lynx had made a mistake and Floody caught him back up, you think they may have held spot there. But maybe Lynx is a little bit faster. Who knows? But right now, Lynx is going to keep, because you want probably the faster Papaya Orange car towing through. I think Chris has made a mistake in Sector 2. Yes, he has. He's gone wrong way around. He'll get it refired. No chance any safety car or anything, but definitely a little bit of an ego bruiser for Chris. But again, top 5 breaking away. And again, everyone's kind of, you can see a big train here, 7th on down here, but they're all within 7th or 5/10 of each other and not really close enough to make anything happen. They're just holding station till pit stops. But obviously, as we get close to that window, I think you're kind of keeping the dogs a bit hungry. They're on the chains right now, and they're seeing the steak, and they're going, and eventually you let them off, it's going to be a big fight for that piece of steak.
Yeah, Noah on the back of Steph is looking quite close. In the second DRS train we've got out on track, Cosby and Hyper leading that along, but Noah looks quicker than Steph. I think there's going to probably be a move coming down the Kemmel Straight, potentially, between these two. Aston Martin against the Alpine. Alpine tries to get the inside line coming out of turn number 1. That is the more favourable line, actually. Gets caught on the curb, but look, he's using up that DRS, he's using up that ERS, in fact, running down in towards the Kemmel Straight, and I think, actually, Hyper could be a sitting duck as well, because Steph is beginning to close up on him quite quick. Noah on the back of Steph. This move could be pulled off, and once again, you'll have to put the National Lottery numbers on if this does pull off, but Noah on the back of Steph. Hyper actually goes to the inside of Carsbury, gets the job done, forces the Haas out wide, and now Steph is going to loop under and over, potentially both of them. Now on the inside line, coming through Lecombe, Hyper stays ahead, you have to cut across the corner again there, and Carsbury goes into the back of Steph. There's a concertina effect occurring. Noah's nearly spun on the curb, and he has spun on the curb. Noah's round. Smalley got caught out of that as well, and now Funky Chicken tries to go all the way around the outside, in towards No Name, and Smalley stays ahead. Funky Chicken and 10 think, why's the fact, but Noah round. That was a bit of a strange one, to be honest, because it all seemed to cause from a concertina effect. Noah's on the inside line, he took too much curb, and he ended up spinning himself on the curb. It was no one's fault.
Yeah, basically, he kind of ran in the back. Carlsby there, and I guess he was like, I want to try to get around. I think he had the pace. He got a little too much of the curb, but it caused him to kick it. And yeah, it kind of just sums up Noah Jones' season so far. He's got good pace. He just keeps making kind of raised pace errors, and it just kind of shows. So he's got good pace, but he just has problems keeping the puzzle all together and making it work. But I think also Hyper, Carsby's not going to be too thrilled with his teammate Hyper, because they were battling there. They were going to be at least 6th and 7th, and then Sifes gets in, and then now Carsby's out of DRS range. So Hyper is making no friends there at Haas, and right now there's going to be a little bit of a talk after the show, that's for sure, about team and team respect. But yeah, rule number 1 in racing, don't wreck your teammate, and that almost happened between Hyper and Carsby, and we'll see if they can put egos aside at the very least. But looking up the field here again, Grosso leads, Rudy second, yeah, all kind of holding station for the most part. But Tom, going to have the fresh tires in the second half, so we'll see if maybe that will work out for him.
Yeah, even at this part of the stint, I think Tom is looking quite good, because he's there, obviously, on the back of the Rudy train, on the back of the Grosso train as well, just ahead. He's in that top 5. Zoidemer, by the way, is going to probably get the move done here on Chalkers, running down the straight again, an easy move to the inside line, down the Kemmel Straight, and Zoidemer in front of the Dutch fans gets through, and he's into 11th position, out on track. Chalkers there in 12th, Noah there in 13th, but, interestingly, Rudy again, close up to within a 10th and a half there of Grosso, didn't want to go for the move in toward Lecombe, and quite simply, he was too far away. Lynx there in 3rd, Fleddy in 4th, but it's the first sign, really, that I think the mediums are beginning to come into play. He's 8/10 of a second behind Tom on the back of Fleddy, just losing a little bit of momentum, but this is going to be as Chris retires into the pit lane for, obviously, he spun as well, coming out of Pouon on that lap as well, so no surprise that Chris has retired into the pit lane. Tom, though, he's just got to try and keep up as Hyper has now got into the wall coming through the Fania chicane. That's a weird place to be on. Can't even see where he has crashed off there. It's on the inside curb, I think he's caught that off, and Hyper's in the wall. Has he got any damage? Can't really see on this camera angle because it's absolutely terrible. I still can't see. Shender's been overtaken by Black Box. I think he's made a mistake, and Hyper is coming through Stavler. We'll eventually see if he is okay in terms of his front wing. I think he is, yeah.
But yeah, I saw on another camera there, he was fine on his wing. Obviously, it may be minor enough, he may decide still to pit, but yeah, he looked okay, but those tires definitely going to have some sand on them, so, or gravel, they would say, so he's going to have to get it kind of cleared off there. Shender's also kind of crashed out there in an odd spot. I think it's off track, though, so it should be no threat of a safety car coming out. but definitely another victim here. We're down to 15 runners at the very least. But, yeah, kind of come through the field here, see if anyone's close to really doing anything. Chalkers on the back of Zoidema, maybe something to keep an eye out for here. I think the Ferrari could make a move on the Red Bull if he gets a tow, and maybe something similar to real life here.
And I think Noah's going to get them both, because look at the pace of Noah in behind on Chalkers. Zordema's going to get outdone by two of them. It could potentially be 3 wide. And Noah to the inside line, in towards center 11. Chalkers has gone completely off track. He's going to have to cut across the track and surely give up this position to Noah. He is through, and Chalkers just cuts across the grass. There's no real runoff area coming through there, to be fair. Noah through and he's into 10. Zordema into 11. Danny into 12. Chalkers in 13. And that's what you have to do. You have to force your fellow drivers into a mistake. Noah did exactly that, and he's through and he's into 10th.
Take a line from the NAS community, press X to intimidate, and that's what happened there. And Noah Jones pressed the button and caused Chalkers to go a bit too wide. But anyway, we're on lap 7 here. And again, I know I keep sounding like a broken record, but top 5 is just kind of holding station. Carsby is 5 back, so it's a big breakaway. And to your own little sections, your yellow flag sector 2, that looks like it's Chalkers around. Actually, it wasn't Chalkers. Daniel's around. Got the wrong camera there. As Daniels again struggled in the first race, struggling here now. Looks like he'll be okay. Just self spin, no hit, but that's going to be kind of at least a bit of an ego bruiser. You got Grosso coming in on lap 7, so he is going for the undercut at the very least.
That's early. That is really early, I think. 14 laps? He can probably get them to the end of the race. But that's an early pit stop. If Rudy and Link score 2 extra laps, I think they're going to be better off at the end of the race. So Grosso, no matter how much time he's going to gain here, I think the threat is there from Rudy and Lynx, obviously, as Tom is now beginning to go onto the back of Fleddy as well, coming down the Kemmel Straight. They're just out of a Rouge and Radion, and Tom now potentially on the back of Fleddy. The IFR man against the Shazoo man, former IFR man, of course, in Tom, tries to chase down Fleddy. Not going to be close enough here. I think Smalley, though, could be on the back of Steph. Look at that. He's just been shot out of a cannon as he goes past him. Smalley through and he's into 6. Steph there into 7. Fleddy, Funky Chicken, by the way, in 8. And Fleddy is getting hounded there by Tom. Now coming through as we run above the wrong car. If the cameras can pick up the right car, that'll be great. Tom, on the back of Fleddy, he's only in that DRS train for one reason. And it's because he can't get the overtake done. But if he wasn't in that DRS train, he'll have the pace, and Tom potentially could be on, I think, later on this race to win this.
Yeah, I think Tom's definitely one to watch out for, but I think kind of why Grosso pit early, I kind of feel like he thinks if he's got the track position, there's no one in front of him, he can kind of sell it. Because right now, I think he was currently, leading the way, but he couldn't really break away. So if he gets more space, can break that DRS train, he can maybe, just maybe, be able to keep distance on Rudy, similar to what happened in the sprint races. Now we see Chalkers, Grosso making a move on Chalkers. Grosso puts the hand up in disgust on Chalkers, as Chalkers kind of cut him down a little bit, but Grosso gets by regardless. So Grosso into 11th, Chalkers down 11th. I think Grosso is just banking on breaking the train and being able to hold it. But, yeah, he'll be definitely struggling by lap 20, lap 21. That is for sure. But next question, let's see if anyone counteracts. And, yeah, Lynx and Rudy both come in here 1 lap, so it looks like Fleddy obviously can't do a double stack. He'll come in on lap 9 going on 10, and I think Tom will inherit the lead on lap 10 onwards.
Fleddy, though, I think he should have came into the pit lane there, because he could have easily backed off into the pit lane, gave himself enough time for Lynx to come in, and then get serviced himself without losing too much time in the longer term, because Tom's obviously going to be losing time when they go into fresh set of mediums. Tom now, speaking of which, is on the outside line, absolutely sails past him if he's not even there. Tom through and he's into the lead of the race. Fleddy in second. Chalkers ahead of Rudy coming out the pit lane, and I think Rudy's going to be on the back of him. Speaking on the back, Funky Chicken to the outside line. On Smalley as well, passing Carlsbury. So 2 moves there. Smalley through and he's into 3rd. Funky Chicken on the outside line in toward Lecom. Gets the job done on Steph, and he's through and he's into 5th. Noah's right on the back of Zordema. Rudy, I should say, is on the back of Grosso. He gets that move done. Both of them, actually. Both him and Lynx get that move done on Chalkers. They're through and into 10th and 11th. But Grosso has got traffic in front of him. Zordema and Noah, who are in a private battle as well. This is going to spell potential trouble for the leaders. And then Tom and Fleddy, they're probably going to be more fancied, I think, as a result of this.
Because remember, Tom's on the same strategy as almost everyone in that field, so when they pit, he'll pit. So, again, that's going to be a long time before they pit here, so they're going to have to pass them manually on track. There's no pit stop coming in to save them at the very least. Fleddy will pit this time by. He may lose a little bit of touch to Lynx, but with this traffic, it may actually work out enough that he could at the very least come still back behind the train here. But he's lost a little bit of touch to Tom, but definitely Fleddy will be coming in this time by using opposite DRS. He'll be coming in, and the question is, how far back will he be of Lynx when he decides to pit here? Tom,
he doesn't.
Fletty's staying out. Okay, never mind. So I think maybe he's thinking that traffic is going to be a little bit more severe, or maybe he just doesn't feel like it's time. He wants fresher mediums at the end to make it work. But bit of a head scratcher. That is a bit of a head scratcher. But I think it's definitely something to keep an eye out for at the very least.
Well, Grosso, Rudy, and Lynx are now on the back of Zoidema and Noah, who are fighting for that position, obviously. They're in 7th and 8th position at the minute, but this is going to get quite complex, I think, coming down in towards Lecom, and Funky Chicken as well is probably going to get moved on Carsbury in the meantime on the minimap, and Noah's all over the rear wing on the back of Zoidema. Black Box is into the pit lane. Grosso, though, is going to perhaps look to try and get them both done. He's not using any ERS, though. He's slow to open in the ERS. Noah gets past, and he's going to be behind Noah coming in toward Lecom. There's a bit of contact actually down. Oh, was actually Grosso tries to go round, and that's Funky Chicken round coming sideways. Don't know what happened to him there, but Funky Chicken now down in 11th position. He's now back down behind the field, but Grosso ideally should have went for that move. He was too slow in turning that ERS on, as Rudy goes all the way around the outside of Zoidema. In the meantime, Zoidema, I think, has got a bit of damage, has he? No, he hasn't. Maybe. He's just going slow.
That's kind of shocking because he was leading that pack, and then he just got passed by Noah Jones. Now he's been fed to the wolves, basically. You think it would be at the very least. He's really holding up Lynx here at the very least. I think Lynx is not too thrilled that the chicane is there. Definitely going to give him the chrome horn if he was not going to get around him sooner rather than later. Luckily, Lynx will stay on DRS range, but definitely sort of making no friends there in the McLaren driver. Friday has lost 1.5 to Tom. He has to come in this time by, or else it's even going to be worse for him if he stands on another lap. So we'll see if he decides to pit. We're also getting a good run on Noah Jones as well. We'll see if Grosso throws up the inside. Fletty coming in. Here comes Grosso. Can I get a 2-for-1 on the call here?
No,
Grosso's
going to
back it down.
DRS, I think.
Yeah, I think he wants a DRS to get the toe here. So he'll lead the way, and Rudy behind as well. But if he doesn't make the move soon, Rudy may end up pressuring him behind him and make it happen. So Grosso's kind of been in a rock and hard place. I think Chalkers has spun. Yes, he has. And he'll get probably heading to pit lane this time by.
And look at where Fleddy's going to come out and all this as well. He's going to be behind Zordom and Funky Chicken, and we're coming into the pit lane, but there's clear air ahead of him as he slides, coming out the pit lane, actually, Fleddy. Grosso, though, on the back of Noah Jones, leading the way, currently in the lead of the battle. Grosso there in 6th, Rudy in 7th, and Rudy now comes onto the back of Grosso, going side by side now, running down Kemmel straight and down in toward Lecom. Noah's a sitting duck. Rudy perhaps is going to try and thread the eye of the needle through the middle of them. Rudy goes to the outside line, there's contact between himself and Grosso. Rudy has to cut across the sleeping policeman on the inside, and Noah's there on the inside now, coming through turn number 7, and Rudy just about holds that position. Lynx is going to go around the outside as well on Noah. Is he going to get the move done on the former IFR man? Not quite close enough. Lynx on the back of Noah, pretty much shoving him, coming through Nona, and this is an absolute tragedy, I think, for these guys. Grosso and Rudy are through. Noah Jones has been becoming the real cork in the bottle at this point. He's there in 7, still yet to come into the pit lane, and Lynx is just sitting there and thinking, do you know what, just get out the bleemin' way.
He's got a fight. He's got his own battle on the racetrack, so he has no right to really move. But I agree with you. It's the struggles sometimes where you're just like, come on, you're holding me up. Please, just let me get a line here. But he doesn't have to do it because if safety car were to come out, it may help on a little bit. So no heart. He's got to fight for his own battle there. I think Daniels looped it again in a similar spot. He did a couple laps ago. Yes, he has. But yeah, Fletty is catching back the chicken. Lynx is still in the back of Noah Jones. Noah Jones, luckily, the only positive is still on the back of Rudy. So he should be able to get back on the toe and not lose too much time, but if he holds the value any longer, it's definitely going to be a bit of a kick in the teeth moment for the McLaren driver. He needs Rudy's and Chalkers to start fighting. Not Rudy's Chalkers, Rudy's and Grosso fighting to get back up the front. As now Fletty's made a move on Chicken. His Chicken is going to be the first of the medium runners in to come in on lap 10.
And Lynx nearly went into the back of Noah Jones, coming down in towards La Sausage. Do you know what? I think he might try and get the move done on the outside, down in towards the Route of Radion. That would have been an absolute death-defying move, perhaps. He is going to get the run up the hill. Rudy, though, on the back of Grosso. This should be quite easy, I think, for Rudy. He will go into the net lead of the race. Grosso does not fight this. Lynx and Noah Jones, though, are fighting quite hard. And they're pretty much having a drag race in toward Lecom. Lynx on the outside line, though, surely going to get this move done for the inside. Noah there, though, to be fair, defends really well. And Noah is showing why IFR should have signed him up in the first place. Lynx now pulls the inside line in towards Bruxelles. This should be job done. Surely second time's a charm. Lynx the outside line, pushes Noah Jones out for good measure. He's into 7. Really good respect shown, I've got to say, between them both there. Lynx got annoyed, but he didn't go the right way. He didn't go the wrong way about it. Just kept his cool, kept his calm, and he's into 7th, and he's still in that DRS frame, which is good for him.
Yeah, great defended by Noah Jones. I wouldn't be shocked if Lynx couldn't make that move on that corner right there. I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't make the move in the Bruce X. Wouldn't be shocked if he just took out a club and just hit him with it, just like stop, get back. But anyway, we got Lynx in 7th, Grosso 6th, Rudy 5th. While we were watching that battle, Carlsby made a move on Smalley, so Carlsby's up to 2nd. Smalley is down to 3rd. We also got Hyper passing Chalkers. I think Chalkers just made a mistake. That's why Hyper got around Chalkers there. Chalkers is a bit struggling here today, but he's still keeping his head held up high. Got to respect it for that front. But Tom still wins. Now Smalley makes a move back on that as Carlsby now pits. So it looks like we're going to probably see Steph, Smalley, and Tom coming in the next 2 to 4 laps.
I think Carlsby potentially could get ahead of Hyper here. Hyper's coming into the bus stop chicane. Remember, the Haas pit stop, though, was right at the bottom of the pit lane. Carlsby is there. He's only coming on the exit of the bus stop chicane now. I think this is going to be Carlsby's move quite easily, to be honest. He's going to be around 2 seconds ahead coming out the pit lane. There's the inside line. Overspeed, obviously, is going to work for Hyper. But there is Hyper. There's Carlsby. Carlsby's miles ahead. Carlsby is miles ahead, and do you know what? It's 2 seconds pretty much coming out the pit lane as well. Here comes Fleddy, though, on the back of Zoidema, and Grosso obviously passes Rudy as well. That's down in towards Lecom in the foreground of shot, but Fleddy is through, and he's into 8th on Zoidema. Zoidema putting up a really good defence there as well. But Grosso now in the net lead of the race, and it's beginning to look a bit like a deja vu from last week, where we saw Tom and Jensen obviously fighting and swapping positions for the last 10 laps of the race. I think I'm getting a sense of deja vu here.
Yeah, we're getting a quite little battle there as well. Different cars, slightly different cars, different drivers, that's for sure. And we may get a good showdown here at the very least. Fleddy, though, just got to go back to him for a second there. Definitely probably kicking himself for staying out 2 extra laps. He's going to get the back of Noah Jones, and if he can, he'll be back in the fight at the very least. But definitely could have been a little bit farther closer up if he pitted a little bit earlier. But again, to each his own, at least have fresher tires by 2 laps better than Rudy and Grosso, so if they keep scrapping up, maybe help just enough to make the lunge. But remember, Tom will be in this battle when he pits, and as he's pitting now, so Tom will be joining the battle shortly, and he'll have the fresh softs, so keep an eye on the other AlphaTauri driver when it shakes out, and that will give the lead, presumably to Smalley, if Smalley stays out. Now Smalley in as well, and now Black Box in as well, so Grosso will re-inherit the lead.
And Chokes is spun as well, coming through No Name. But where is Tom going to actually come out of the pit lane here? I think he's going to be behind Fleddy, potentially. Coming out of his pit box now, there's the AlphaTauri, there's the Red Bull of Zoidema. I think Tom's going to be ahead of Zoidema, I think, coming out the pit lane. There's Fleddy, there is Tom, and he's in that DRS train, which is really good for him. Tom is just outside of that DRS range, but he's got deployment to use up, 36% of which he can use up, of course. Rudy and Grosso, though, I think are going to go for round 3 here as Chalkers again has spun. Rudy now pulls to the outside line, the gap is given as Chalkers is now retired out on track. There could be a safety car. Rudy takes the lead of the race from Grosso. Lynx 7th, and there's a safety car. Safety car deployed.
As far as I could tell, he was clearly off a wall. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not going to call that, but
it's
definitely
where,
not.
It's where Russell crashed in real life in 2019, where obviously he went into Giovinazzi.
True, and but when I cut to his camera and he was spinning, he was going still a little bit fast, but he looked like he was braking before he hit a wall. So again, maybe he did hit a wall and something broke off. Not going to call anything out there, but definitely a bit of an odd crash and a bit of odd retirement there. Definitely, hopefully he did not retire on track, because that could have just monkey wrenched everything. But Rudy gets the lead. Ross 2nd, Lynx 3rd, Noah Jones 4th, Fleddy 5th, Tom 6th. I guess my next question is, we know Zoidema's coming in. I guess the question mark is, does any of the top 5, well, Noah Jones is obviously going to pit, but anyone else in that top 5 maybe fancy a set of softs?
They might do. Noah definitely. Zoidema definitely. They're going to be putting in. I think they were going to be putting in this lap anyways if there wasn't going to be a safety car. And I still think they're not going to lose. They're probably not going to lose as much time necessarily, but they are going to lose the same positions as they were when they would have came into the pit lane this lap around. Rudy, though, for me, they've got to, I think, stay out, because Tom's there on a set of soft compounded tyres. They've got to try and counteract Tom's set of soft compounded tyres by staying out, I think, here. And Rudy is actually coming into pit lane. Do you know what? I'm no expert. As actually, Grosso stays out. Grosso stays out. Fleddy is also into the pit lane. That is really interesting, though. Grosso now leads the race. Tom there in 2nd. It's an AlphaTauri 1-2. I think Rudy and the likes have just thrown away a potential podium. That's just that's a really strange call.
I don't know, because they're going to come up behind, I believe, Smalley, but that's as far back as things are going to go. Steph, maybe. Yeah, they're going to fall in the 6th, 7th, so on and so forth. Yeah, just behind Steph. Actually, I think Steph. Yeah, no, just behind Steph. So
Wow.
Yeah, that's not terrible. But remember, Steph, Smalley, Carlsby, Tom all have fresh tires. So they're basically on an equal playing field. And then you got Grosso, who I think Grosso should have followed him in at that point because he's going to be a sitting duck. I mean, those mediums are going to hold off. He's got to hope that the softs just eat a cliff before the end of this thing. But I don't like the call Grosso made. I kind of agree with the call Rudy and the rest of the lot made. It may be a neutral strategy at the very least, but in theory, it's only a couple cars. And if you feel confident in your overtaking ability, you can get right back to the edge of Tom, and you have slightly fresher softs.
I think what's going to happen here, yeah, Grosso probably on hindsight, with everyone as literally came into the pit lane behind him, he's the only one that didn't come in. Carlsby actually didn't come in, and Smalley didn't come in, because they've literally just came into the pit lane, I think. Yeah, they already came into the pit lane. And they're actually being helped out massively. Third, fourth, and fifth position at this moment in time. Rudy there currently 6th position is letting my prediction down at this moment in time, because Tom's there in 2nd, Carlsby's there in 3rd, and I'm just going to say to Rudy, do you know what? Get an absolute move on, my friend, because you're ruining my prediction at this point. Grosso's there in the lead of the race. He might not be there towards the end of the race, but Rudy is in, I think, with a really good chance. He's got the pace compared to Smalley, Steph and Carlsby ahead. Maybe not so much Tom, but if Tom can back up Grosso into this pack and then bring them back forward, especially coming in towards Blanchimont, we'll have to wait and see. But Grosso leads the way, Tom there in 2nd, Carlsby in 3rd. I don't think we're getting safety car in this lap, if I'm not mistaken. But Grosso does lead the way. And yeah, looking back on hindsight, he should have came into the pit lane, but I don't blame him for not coming in the pit lane either, because he's made a call, he has to stick to it now, otherwise he's going to be right at the back of the field, and what's the point of actually continuing on?
Yeah, the thing that's kind of shocking is that he was 2nd in that line. He saw Rudy coming in. It would have been probably a pain to switch everything out, but if he would have had probably just enough time, he could have sent the call to let him know he wanted to pit, or maybe he could have selected the option and just ignored it. So, kind of a shock to Grosso, because if Grosso was leading and everyone else followed him, you kind of understand it. He was 2nd in the train. Could have followed Rudy in, but maybe he just feels confident in those mediums. Maybe a little bit too much of a strong hubris here, being the rookie, the new driver on the block. Maybe he feels a little bit confident in his abilities. Maybe a little bit too much. It's clouding his judgment. But yeah, as we do see everyone kind of getting shaken up here, now we got Black Box caught the back. We are definitely going this time by, and we will have six to go here. 7, sorry.
Oh no, you're right, 6, sorry. Yeah, 6.
It was 6. Wait a minute, I was 6. We'll be going on 17. So yeah, that's 6. I'm like, I was correct. I thought I was, but never know. Quick math is sometimes not my strong suit. But yeah, with 6 to go, Grosso, I mean, those tires won't hit cliff range yet because they can go about 10. So yeah, I think Tom Carlsby, that we definitely know the only question mark would be Carlsby's tires. He'll hit about 8 or 9. He'll definitely be a little bit slower by the end, but everyone else should be good. Their tires will still be in that peak window. So Grosso is just going to have to, if you're a Grosso fan right now, you better have your defense signs out because he's going to need it.
He is going to need it big time, I think, because Grosso there leads the way. I'm going to predict in the future what is going to happen at the safety car restart, and I have got my predictions right so far. So, I think Tom is going to get the move done down and towards Lake Com. Thomas then... Oh! Did he touch the back of the safety car there?
I didn't see it. I didn't...
He was so... sorry, it was Grosso, sorry. Grosso was so close to the back of the safety car there. I'm not sure if he actually touched it. That was really strange. Anyways, back to predicting the future. I think Tom is going to get the move done on Grosso down in towards Lake Com. If Grosso is then quick enough to hold on his tyres, he's going to hold Carlsby, Smalley, Steph up considerably for Tom to get away by more than a second. Then it's all going to break up into a big old battle with probably 3 to go, so lap 19 I think it'll all begin to kick off between these guys. But the bigger advantage for Grosso is he's the lead car. There's no DRS for 3 laps. If he's got so much pace on those set of mediums, and of course they're going to be warmer tyres compared to everyone else's in behind, those mediums are going to come into effect. If he keeps the lead for the 3 laps until the DRS train, I think he could potentially still win this.
I just don't like the odds, because even with DRS, if he can hang on the train, but again, those softs are going to eat him alive. We saw it during intermediates in the previous race, intermediates wets. Those softs are a night and day comparison to those mediums, and he'll get eaten alive.
He will get eaten alive, but we'll have to wait and see. So, if Tom passes Grosso in toward Lecom, and then Tom's away by more than a second and Grosso holds everyone else up, you can count me the luckiest commentator probably ever alive to grace a screen on commentate on F1 2021 at least. Grosso leads the way. He is the virtual Bermalander. He is now the virtual safety car, and I think he'll probably go in towards the bus stop chicane, you would imagine. But Tom on the back of him, he is going to be right underneath that rear wing on this restart, and potentially this is going to fall into Tom's hands, as I say, down in toward Lecom. And now Grosso coming out of the bus stop chicane, still waiting, now on the outside line, says go. No, it's a really slow restart. There's a little bit of scrumping and scrimmaging in the background, and actually Lynx I think has overtaken. Has he overtaken Stefan Rudy just before the yellow flags came in there? I'm not sure. Grosso leads the way. Tom in second. Smalley in third. There's a bit of contact actually coming out of turn number 1. I think Stefan's got a little bit of damage coming out of turn 1. But Grosso leads the way. Tom in second. Cosby in third. And do you know what? Exactly what I said on the last lap there is going to probably happen. Because here comes Tom on the back of Grosso running down the Camel Straight on the outside in toward Lecom. He tries to get this slipstream on the outside line. Grosso is not budging though on that inside line. Tom on the outside line though waltzes around the outside. That's a really nice move. Tom into the lead of the race. Grosso in second. Cosby in third. Cosby's up for this one and behind. Is he going to lunge it down in towards Bruxelles? No. Tom 7/10 clear already. Grosso in second. Cosby in third. And as I say, you may as well put the lottery on. A Smalley is round on the curb.
I think, yep, Smalley is around there. He'll get it refired, but definitely it's going to be close there. You're halfway right. We'll have to see if Rudy can get around, because we'll see if anything can happen here. But if you are correct here, at this point, you better just give me the lottery number. I agree with you on that, because that is just too many right in one day, and this is back in the 1600s. You'd be burned as a witch for being this accurate. But anyway, we're going back to the battles here again. Tom checked out right 1.5 ahead. Grosso second. And again, Rudy and Lynx, a little bit of their scrappiness may end up kind of hurting them in their hubris. One kind of has to lead right now. If they want to get Tom, they need to kind of put their petty differences aside and make sure to get to the back of him before you start scrabbling, or else this is Tom's victory at the very least. We got Rudy. Oh, yep, I was going to say Rudy's going to catch at the back here. Carlsby as well on Grosso. I don't think, Carlsby thinks about hanging the outside, but Grosso plants his car in a good spot. Rudy is well there, and we do have Lynx trying to change the gears of that. Big train behind Grosso, and again, 2 seconds is now the gap. They have to get a move on quickly.
And Cosby now looks the inside line in toward Lecom, in toward La Source even at turn number 1. Grosso on the outside line, tries to hold him off, doesn't. Cosby through and he's into second. Nice move there. Grosso, though, is on the back of him. He's going to try and hold off Rudy and Lynx. Certainly on the ropes towards the Rouge and Radion at least. And now down the Camel Straight, Rudy is now on the back of Grosso. Grosso surely a sitting duck. He's going to pick up the slipstream, though, from Cosby, and he's coming back as the medium runner compared to the Haas in front.
Blocking.
Grosso to the outside line, inside Lecom, tries to go all the way around the outside. Oh, what a move. What a move by Grosso. Around the outside of Cosby. Very similar to what we saw with Tom last lap around. Gets the job done. He's through and he's into second. Cosby in third. Rudy in fourth. No overtakes I think are going to happen now, at least in toward Blanchimon. Grosso leads the way, is in second, leading this train. Cosby, Rudy, Lynx all fall over each other behind. And as I said, you might as well call me the luckiest commentator alive, because I've got this exactly right.
One thing I'd argue is Grosso made a few too many moves there. Looked clean, but at least when I was watching the board with Lynx there, it did look like he made it 1, 2, 3 lunges in defense and attack, but maybe that was just trying to get around Carlsby as well. But definitely a bit of a reactionary. But anyway, Grosso still leads the way, now down to 3 seconds, and the clock is ticking, and the thing is going to turn to a pumpkin spoon, as Daniels made another mistake there. Shouldn't really trigger anything, just a little bit slow. We got Carlsby, Rudy, Lynx. Here comes Rudy. He says, Carlsby, you can't do it. It is my time to shine. You better get a move on here, or else it'll be me going around. As it looks like Carlsby's got the message. Can he make the pass happen on Grosso?
No.
Oh, block one line, go to the outside. Not going to make it happen. He's going to tuck in. He's going to have to make the move going into one in La Source. Hyper getting a move on Fletty. He'll success. Well, maybe not Fletty yet. He's going to have the run on the inside here. They're going to be side by side fighting, and it looks like Fletty's going to give him a little bit of a nudge here, and it looks like Fletty's going to have to concede. Well, Fletty's still got the door there at the very least. I think Fletty's going to win out in the end here. So Fletty's going to get the spot. Hyper's going to fall down the 9th. But back up here, we got Rudy Cosby fighting.
Rudy and Cosby down the inside into the Rouge and Radion. That's not going to work. Rudy's leading the wall. Cosby's recovered it. No, he hasn't. He's in the wall. He's actually not picked up any damage as a result of that either. Noah's now through into third. That shouldn't have happened. Rudy was on the inside line. One of them should have backed out. They didn't. And that's what you get for going side by side with Rouge and Radion. Simple as that. Rudy, Lynx,
no, Joe, on the wall there.
No,
Joe
just
in the wall.
Did he?
Oversteer.
Yeah, he lost that, I think.
100% just snapped. He was looking for his best finish in the season and just nowhere to go. Just car corrected into the tire barrier. But I was watching it. They just touched tires. Rudy's right rear touched the front left of the Haas. And you understand they're fighting. It's lap 19-22. They're both on soft tires, but they're just a little bit too hungry there. And it ended up kind of costing them. And I think Tom right now is smiling from ear to ear because that's a 5-second battle back there, and he doesn't have to worry about anything coming close to him anymore. So he's just smelling like the cat that at the canary. And Tom better write a good check to Grosso because Grosso has been the cog in the bottle that has maybe, just maybe, won him this race.
Yeah, and Tom obviously 4.6 seconds ahead of Grosso. Lynx there is in with a really good shot of actually picking up a podium now because of that contact with Rudy and Carlsbury. Carlsbury will blame it on Rudy. Rudy will blame it on Carlsbury. Somebody will have to get the blame because, quite simply, you don't go side by side with the Rouge and Radeon. You could say, in my opinion, certainly Rudy looked like he got the run down in towards the Rouge and Radeon, and he had the position pretty much ahead of Carlsbury, and Carlsbury should have backed out. Stewards will obviously have a look at it. If I was given a penalty there, I'd probably maybe put it down as a racing incident because I don't think it was anything more than that.
I'd lean as well because Rudy had the position, but Carlsby had the inside line, and Rudy kind of came in a little, and there was just hard to make two cars fit through there, let alone. And I think just they both ran out of real estate, and it's just a racing incident situation. Now here comes Lynx around Grosso, and Lynx will make the pass, and it looks like Rudy going to try to follow suit as well, and he will as well. So we got Lynx second, Rudy third. Grosso can't answer back. Now Steph in fifth could get probably one of his strongest performances today if he can get around Grosso.
He has got a penalty, remember, Steph down the inside on Grosso, both in the same team, of course, for SXT. SXT, of course, are competing in EML, because Hyper obviously raced there last time. Steph in fourth, though, gets the job done on Grosso. Grosso's tyres are now letting go. Soft's clearly the tyre to be on. Fleddy is not too far off the pace either. Could potentially get a run outside of Pouon if he is quick enough, but I don't think he will be. Coming on the exit of Pouon, yeah, he's not going to. He's just going to stay in behind for now. But Tom, 5.4 seconds ahead. It's not going to be the 8,000th of a second, actually, as we've got a spinner that I think is Daniel that's gone around for about the 6th time here tonight. Still continue on there in 12th. At least he's picking up points. Lynx there in second. Really low in third. This is potentially going to be the big battle to watch out for. Oh, Hyper's in the wall. Hyper hard into the wall. Just roll on board with that. Sorry if you've seen a glitching tyre and that car just went hard into the wall. Maybe one of the hardest incidents I've seen coming through Stavolo. He got too far wide on the outside curb. He was following, I think it was Fleddy at the time. Fleddy got caught out wide as well, and both of them ran out wide. Hyper went too far wide, and obviously went in the wall, and he's had a Stavolo. Oh, and the Alfa Romeo, Smalley just about recovers the car there in 10th as well. Penultimate lap of the race. Tom leads, Lynx in second, Rudy in third. Such a shame for Hyper. He was doing well up until that point, but he ran too far wide on Stavolo, and if you get caught in that outside curb, you're in the wall.
Yeah, that air wash is terrible around that corner there. It's the curse of the old ladies, we like to say with a few of my friends. And it was really bad, and that caused Hyper to be the next victim of that mistake. But yeah, Tom 5.3 ahead. Rudy and Lynx fighting for second here.
3 wide.
Steph, three wide in the back there. You are correct. That's not going to end well usually. Got a bit of a bad angle here, but it looks like Grosso holds station. Fleddy, and it looks like we're going to have, I believe, the Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin have to kind of cut the corner there a little bit to survive. He'll take P5. Fleddy's still in the 6th, but Grosso gets back 4th position.
And Fleddy went into the back there with Steph as well. Had the helicopter cam coming through there, and what happened basically was 3 wide. Fleddy pretty much backed off. Steph picks up a 5-second penalty for corner cutting and getting in place. I'm not entirely surprised, even though I think Steph was still ahead going into the corner, so he might get that one removed, I think. It is a little bit of an unfair penalty, to be honest, that. Fleddy there in 6th, Zermatt there in 7th, and Fleddy obviously has to try and do it the hard way once again to try and get past Steph. What happened there, though, basically was, Fleddy backed off. He made contact on Steph. Steph, as Carlsbury spun it coming through Campos, just coming through that section of the track, as Fleddy was on the back of Steph. Steph arguably, I think, was ahead. And Fleddy, I don't think, probably would have got that move, even if he defended that position, because Steph had the outside line. They're basically off-camera the corner, forced Steph off track, and Fleddy forced Steph off track, and that's why he picked up the 5-second penalty. He's ahead of Fleddy. I don't think it'll really matter if they finish in the same position.
Yeah, I don't think it really will matter as well if they hold station, but we'll have to wait and see how that shakes out. But yeah, on the final lap here, Tom, again, keeps leading the way again. Just 5-2. I think your prediction was 100% right, except the only thing you were wrong about is you think it was going to pop off on 19 and 20 and we're going to catch up. And it almost did, if not that little mistake between Rudy and Carlsby didn't happen. That could have probably happened. But yeah, Tom just checked out. Check is in the mail. Link second. Rudy not going to really and the answer back here at the very least. Could make a move down in the... Something happening. Sorry. Steph and Grosso fighting. Steph going to go a little bit deep there, and he's going to make the pass successfully on Grosso. Lovely move there indeed. So Steph the 4 Steph does have 5 and 3, so one could get syndicated, but it's kind of all for show at the very least, at least for now. Grosso 5th, Fletty 6th, Zoidma 7th. And yeah, a bit of a train here forming at the end. We'll see if anyone gains some spots here, because I think top 3, I wouldn't say it's pretty set yet, because we may see a move going to the chicane between Rudy and Lynx. But we may see a few drivers get a little bit antsy here in the back here as they go through Blanchimont as we speak.
Fleddy on the back of Grosso coming around the outside and towards the Fania chicane. Doesn't get the move done. Grosso falls him off wide. And Grosso stays there in 5th. Fleddy in 6th. But as I think you said, Rudy on the back of Lynx. This looks on. In towards Blanchimont. Tom leads the way by 5 seconds. He's won this race unless he's going to run out of fuel. Lynx there in 2nd. Rudy is trying to drain all of that battery up the run because he's derating now. Down the straight there is a spinner. That is Daniel round. Daniel is round once again, and Rudy's on the back of Lynx, coming into the bus stop chicane. He has to try and send it all the way around the outside. What a move this is going to be by Rudy! This is insane if he can pull it off. Tom, by the way, crossed the line to win, and Rudy and Lynx are going to be side by side, right to the line, and it's Rudy who gets it! Rudy gets it, and I think that might have been closer than 0.008 of a second as well. We'll have to look at the timings for that. Rudy in 2nd, Lynx in 3rd. That was a drag race right to the line, and on my camera angle, certainly, I think the interval timings have actually gone right this week. Rudy 2nd, Lynx in 3rd.
I think I was right. I saw the onboard as well. I think Rudy just had Fletty at the line there, so I would agree with you on that point. Rudy gets 2nd, Lynx at 3rd. And it's got to be close because the timing interval doesn't even have a score there yet. So, generally speaking, it is going to be very close indeed. We'll have to wait and see at the scorecard. But it is going to be Tom that wins this race. Bit of a redemption arc from the little bit, I would say the bungle of the sprint race. But definitely a little bit of a mistake as Tom, though, does win this race. Rudy gets 2nd, Lynx gets 3rd, and that will be your podium celebration here today.
Yeah, Tom taking to the top step of the podium. Actually, Brendan Lee's at the top step of the podium anyways, with the selfie camera and all of that. But it is Tom who takes another win. 2 in a row, of course, from Saudi Arabia last week. Closes in, even though we didn't have that sprint race result. The feature race is where it all matters, with more than enough points to get him back into contention. And because of that race win, and probably because he's not going to get an investigation either in the feature race, he wins that race, of course. Zoidema, in the end, obviously might feel hard done by in the sprint race, because obviously he left him short of room, so that might come back to bite him. We'll have to wait and see. As the grid order is coming up on my end, it is Rudy out on top. Tom wins, Rudy there in 2nd, Lynx in 3rd, and in the end, intervals are completely wrong. I think that's probably around 300ths of a second separating them at the line. Rudy there in 2nd, Lynx in 3rd, Grosso in 4th, Fleddy in 5th, Funky Chicken in 6th, Black Box in 7th, wasn't too far off either, ran a really good race. Zoidema, by the way, 3,000s behind him across the line, 8th position. Smalley in 9th, Steph in 10th, Daniel in 11th, Cosby in 12th, Hyper 13th. They all at the top 12 finish. Hyper, of course, crashed out late on. Noah, Chalkers, Shenda, Chris and one Rocco, all DNF'd as part of that race. Tom though wins, Rudy in 2nd, Lynx in 3rd. The top 3 are now probably going to join us in the party, and we can speak immediately to the man who's finished in P1 once again. It is Shazoo Tom. And Tom, you didn't have Jensen this week. It was a bit easier, certainly, in the feature race. But first of all, talk us through the sprint race, because you obviously chose that strategy. Set of intermediate compounder tyres. We were convinced it was going to dry at the end of the race, which it did. He was so much quicker than everyone else and finished 7th in the end. So talk us through that race first.
Well, to be honest, it was horrendous. I expected the inters to be like, not like 7 seconds a lap slower or 8 seconds a lap slower at the very start. And then it obviously didn't like dry up to inters. It said it'd go dry at the end of the race, like completely dry. And it didn't even get close, but it was definitely the wrong strategy, but salvage P7 when the inters came good at the end.
Yeah, salvage P7, and obviously I think I partly had a salvage mission on myself in terms of commentary, because I actually predicted you'll probably finish... Who was it again, Pepsi, that I predicted you'll finish ahead of? Was it Steph and... There was 2 people ahead of him.
It was Steph, Zoidema, and it was the Alfa Romeo, but it was definitely Steph, Zoidema, and I want to see the other Alfa Romeo, Smalley. That was the 3.
Yeah, it was Smalley and Zoldimer, I think, and then I didn't say Steph until like halfway through the final lap. So you had that prediction well and truly on me. Probably the boldest prediction I've made in my league racing career, that's for sure. But you finished in 7th. I did say watch out for you in the race as well at the start of the formation lap, and in the end it was quite a dominant race. So talk us through it.
Well, it was dominant, but it wouldn't have been dominant without the safety car. I probably would have fought towards the victory without the safety car, but like it would have been a lot more difficult. But I managed to get into the DRS of the soft runners, like past the 2 other medium runners in front of me at the start, because I knew they were gonna drop out, because it like takes a lot of ERS to stay in the DRS train. I had to use all I had to stay in, and then when they pitted, they were sort of like battling the back markers and stuff like that, so I could come out on softs like behind the train and fight through it. But yeah, right as I pitted, the safety car came out, which was obviously a stroke of luck, and then everyone but Grosso pitted, and he did a very good job as a teammate and held everyone else up, and I got 5 seconds clear, so yeah, cheers to him as well.
Yeah, and that was another prediction I made as well when the safety car came in. I honestly should put the National Lottery on. I don't, but I should put it on, honestly. In terms of the championship as well, provisionally, of course, you had an incident with Zoidemer in the sprint race, so provisionally, you do get 32 points as a result. So I believe the gap coming into next week is... What was it coming into? It was 58 points, I think it was, so 32.
I think it was 58 to Lynx, though, so it should be a little bit more. Hold on, I'll get the calculator
57.
out here.
I was 1 point ahead of Lynx or something.
Oh.
What? Yeah,
Or
1 point
2
ahead of
points
Lynx. 146, 88 up to 12 is 100. Yeah, so 58 points you were behind coming into tonight. You've gained 32 points provisionally, so that makes it 26 points now between you and Jensen, less than a race win's advantage. The form is with you. How is that form obviously going to be kept on going towards the end of the season, especially towards Australia next week?
Oh, Australia is actually horrendous. I actually didn't want to hear that. Australia's got to be one of my worst tracks. It's like Zandvoort and Australia. I just can't get to grips with them, but obviously I'll hope for a decent result. I know Jensen's probably rapid. He just knows every track. I don't know how. Anyway, I'll hope to get some luck again, maybe, but Australia is actually my worst track, probably. So, I'm not looking forward, but maybe the rest of the calendar I can try my best.
Well, you never know. You say it's the worst track, you'll probably end up winning that by around 5-10 seconds, something like that. You never know what might happen there in Australia. Pepsi, I haven't forgot about you. Any questions?
Honestly, I don't really have a question here. I'll be completely honest. I think you kind of took the wind out of my sails with that question, and I really got not much else to say. So, I guess I'll just, unless you got something else, James, to add, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good as well. That means, Tom, go and enjoy your evening.
Cheers. Cheers to the commentary.
You're very welcome indeed, and we'll now move on, of course, to the man who finished in P2, was it, in that race, Rudy. And Rudy, it was a bit of sense of deja vu, I think, with you and Lynx coming across the line there from Saudi Arabia last week. Talk us through that battle, because that seemed really intense, and it looked like there was only 0.03 of a second separating you at the end of the feature race.
Yeah, it was a good battle at the end. I think I probably would have driven away, but the driving standards were just absolutely disgraceful. It was really bad. I almost fully smashed into the wall because someone decided to understeer him to me through Radeon. So, I mean, Lynx did a great job. He stayed ahead with the DRS. I think we were both on the back straight. I was just staying in 7th gear on the penultimate lap, and I was still gaining on him. So I don't think he was really pushing for the final sector, but yeah. He went to the inside. Final lap I saw the laps before as well. He was struggling a lot through Piff Path, and I was really confident through there, just all over the curbs, gaining loads of time there. And then I knew he had more ERS, but yeah, the straight line speed was pretty good. And then I saw him defending the inside. I was thinking about sending him down the inside, but then I just went late on the brakes around the outside. a little bit of wheel banging, but I think it was pretty clean. And yeah, I think I just nipped ahead before the line. But yeah, I think it's pretty much a photo finish. It could be a timing glitch, but I think it's pretty much impossible to see that it was that close. So yeah, GG to him. Yeah.
Personally, for both our cameras, we both saw Rudy was slightly ahead of the line, so I think that will stand, but again, that is up to Stewart's discretion, at the very least.
Great.
Yeah, definitely the steward's discretion, but as I said with Pepsi, it certainly looked like, to my camera angle, the Mercedes was just slightly ahead to the line. It was the front wings, I think, you could tell between them both, and that's why, obviously, you finished there in second. Really good performance from you, of course, here tonight. Jensen obviously didn't turn up, so you gained more points on him. What's the focus for the rest of the season like?
Yeah, especially because Jensen wasn't there today, I was really aiming on getting maximum points. And I knew it was going to be difficult because Tom obviously is really quick, but then the safety car just came out at the worst time. So yeah, that really is annoying. Doesn't give me any more points, but yeah, the aim is definitely to. I have no idea how far I'm behind in the points, but I mean I think I should have probably already won 1 or 2 races if things would have gone my way. Also last week with damage, hitting a back marker. But aim is definitely to win a race because I'm really annoyed I haven't won one yet. But that's the aim. And maybe if something insane happens, I could get back into the championship fight. But yeah, if my luck improves a bit, that should be possible. But yeah, I'm first aiming to get a win finally.
Yeah, the consistency is there. I think it just needs to be a series of factors that obviously makes you into that position that you were going to win that race. And obviously I thought you were going to finish second or third here tonight, obviously with that incident with Carlsbury coming through a Rouge and Radion. So unfortunate, you still ended up in second position, and we said in commentary that probably looked like a racing incident as well. So the stewards will obviously have their discretion and have a look at that one as well. Pepsi, though, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
I guess I'll steal your question you gave to our race winner, Tom. Australia is next week. How do you feel about Australia? Because it's been 3 years since they've gone there in real life. How do you feel about this track coming up in this schedule?
Normally, it's in qualifying, especially, it's a good track for me. I don't have a lot of race experience there, but yeah, normally I'm pretty confident around Australia. So yeah, hopefully get some good points, especially because Tom just said he's struggling there as well. So yeah, hopefully gain some points on him as well, and Jensen hopefully can win the race. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident for Australia.
Whoever knows, maybe Tom's doing a double bluff. But anyway, James, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Nothing else.
Any questions?
Yeah, nothing else from me actually. So Rudy, go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, cheers.
Very welcome indeed. We'll now move on to the man who finished in P3. Of course, that is Lynx. And Lynx, I believe that is your third podium of the season, if I'm not mistaken, as well, on the feature race. One in this British sprint race, and then one, of course, 2 weeks ago in China. Really topsy-turvy race from your perspective. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, that race was crazy. You know, it went from a pretty comfortable, just DRS turn with the soft runners to, trying to get through the back markers on the mediums, and then that safety car came out, which is just awful. It just pretty much gifted so many people positions, and then me and Rudy and Fleddy had to fight back, which was tough. It was getting crazy with the strategic DRS. Everyone wanted to get it, but yeah, and then Rouge, Rudy, and I think it was Carlsbury just went crazy. Like they just went off, and then me and Noah were side by side with like 3 others, like three wide behind. Yeah, it was crazy. And then obviously when I got past Grosso, it was me and Rudy. And he had better pace than me all race, so I was just trying to just get a good run up our Rouge, which I did. But then the third sector was kind of a bottle. And then coming up to the line, I don't know. It might have looked like on stream, but I felt like I was a tiny bit ahead, but then obviously he got past me, and then he probably had a bit more ERS on the line. But from my car, I felt like I was a tiny bit ahead, but I will have to see about that, because, it doesn't matter if it's second or third podium. After a race like that, it's quite crazy, so yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, podium's a podium at the end of the day. Obviously, last week you qualified in P13, finished in P10, which I'm sure you don't want to look back on, obviously. But compare that to this week. You said in your tweet last week as well. On to next week, hopefully it goes better. Well, it has gone better. P3 for you provisionally. You must be very happy.
I mean, yeah, I went from last week just getting home in time with no practice, to then having a nightmare race, to then quite a bit of practice and a good race. So yeah, that is a good race, and yeah, I don't want another Jeddah race, so I want to keep coming strong.
Yeah, very strong race, obviously. Well, compared to last week in Jeddah, I think it's a very strong race this week here in Belgium. Pepsi, any questions?
I guess I'll ask him a question again. Australia next week. How do you feel about Australia? Think you will be strong there, or do you think you'll be a little bit of like how Tom was and maybe ruining it?
I mean, Australia isn't a bad race, I'm not gonna lie. I don't mind it, but, you know, I haven't driven that track, no assist yet. Like, I've only driven it with the lines, and we have to learn that. But, you know, previous races I ain't done too bad there. It's quite a tough track with the curbs. So, yeah, obviously I doubt I'll have the pace with Tom, Rudy, Jensen, you know, the normal top runners. But, you know, if they make mistakes or if they get penalties, you know, I'll try and be there to pick up the pieces. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, James?
Nothing else from me. Go and enjoy your evening, links.
Yeah, thanks.
Very welcome indeed, and that rounds off our series of interviews here tonight. Big thank you to Rudy, to Lynx and to Tom for the interviews as always. That completes, of course, the interviews and completes, of course, the race tonight here in TTML F1. Really hope you enjoyed it. If, of course, you did, please, of course, follow us on Twitch. We are, I think, we're 4 subscribers off 100. Away. Yeah, 4 subscribers off 100 coming into tonight's race. So, if you're brand new and you've got literally a spare 20 seconds from your very busy lives, please follow us, of course, on Twitch. You can also tick that notification bell for when we next go live. And, of course, if you're viewing this on YouTube, you can like, comment, subscribe, and tick that notification bell, of course, if you're new on League Racing TV. Pepsi, though, I'm going to leave the final words to you. Overall driver of the day.
Ooh, it's a tough one, because if we go by featured race, it's definitely the other AlphaTauri. But if we go into the situation of the main race, it's got to be Tom. Tom did pretty well there, and he played the hand he was dealt, and the safety car helped him out, and he was able to make it work. And then Tom was able to scoot away. So I guess if we're going feature race, it's going to be the AlphaTauri. But if we're going main race, it's going to be Tom.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I'm probably going to lean it more towards Tom. That feature race performance obviously was really good, and that sprint race comeback, I think, from being obviously choosing the wrong strategy. In the end, Tom gets my driver of the day vote as well. So I think we can now hook, line, and sinker and put that in, of course, to the app, of course, that Funky Chicken is going to be giving. So Tom obviously will get driver of the day in that. That completes, of course, the action here this week on the TTML channel. Big thank you, of course, to Pepsi for joining me alongside in the comment box. Jensen back, of course, next week after that NSX Mads charity event, which was really well received. So big thank you to everyone, of course, that actually tuned in for that, from everyone, of course, at FRL, which I'm obviously doing on Tuesday. And I think it really comes to show the real love, I think, there was for Mads. Obviously, I was commentating here in TTML, so didn't get to see the full event. I'm going to watch it back, though, after. But it was a really good event, and it was really well put on, and hopefully everyone enjoyed that event as well, as they did here tonight, of course, in TTML F1. That rounds us off, though, for tonight. More action to come on the TTML channel. Next time we are live on the channel is going to be on Thursday. That is TTML F2, of course. You can join myself and Storm, hopefully back from his from COVID-19. Hopefully he's recovered well, and he should be ready to commentate, I think, next week on Thursday. TTML F3, of course, on the YouTube channel on League Racing TV. That is Mike and Cadwell taking you through the action. F4, Buck and Pariah, of course, on Friday, 8 PM UK time. And we are back on Sunday, of course, TTML F1. There's also other leagues like VRS going to be live as well on the channel very, very soon. And they, of course, I think are live on Saturdays, if I'm not mistaken, as well. I'm waffling on, though. I better end off the stream here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.